Ali Allah, Ali Ali, Ali Ali, yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7.
Islam, 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 Moorish America. Want to rise upon the 7 and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj, Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything. And I do mean everything that our Holy Prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to welcome you all to another late night library session. And it's going to be a powerful one. You know, the question they got to ask is why they got me started over here. You know, because they know I'm just like, you know, that particular reptile, so to speak, that if you try to wiggle up out of that demonstration, it get a little bit more tighter. You know, now I'm just messing with you. But what we really want to bring forth is a very important measure. And it's actually going to be picking up where we left off at last night. And this is going to inform our family even more so than we already have, because we really got to expose this stuff. Last night, for those who tuned in, we actually exposed, you know, who these so-called priests, you know, of the Greeks were, dealing with the texts that were mentioned last night. We was going back and forth with a particular brother. You know, again, we want to give honor to our brother Sarnetta. We honor him for all of the content that he bring forth. You know, but he already know we definitely on the heels of all of those who have a bone to pick with me per se. You know, because most of this come from people attacking the information that I bring forth. So since I can't present the information in peace, so all right, I'm going to give you some scimitar talk, since that's what you want. You know, that ain't necessarily how I like to bring it, but I might as well deal with it because we don't run from no call outs. We never did it in the real world, and we definitely ain't going to do it in the world of social media. So if you look at the title up here, it's very important. I still have the same banner going across the bottom of the screen, though. You know, y'all see it. The title is PSEUDO-HOTEP Scam Gods and Their Cult of Personality Worship. Now, y'all already know how we got on last night. We was exposing, those who believe that they can call out the Kemetic community, but yet they are pseudo. So I said, how can a pseudo-Egyptologite cast out a pseudo-Egyptologist with pseudo-Egyptomania? How is that possible? A house divided against itself cannot stand. And I stand with my ancestors, being that I have Egyptian markers, or, the blood of the same of that, that links up with Ramesses in the blood, we're going to demonstrate that. And we definitely out here in this new era and time to expose that Greco-Roman influence that has basically crept into the crevices of the hearts and minds of our people who have been earnestly seeking to study the truth of our ancestors. Many of those who seek to really know the truth still can't comprehend it. They can't fathom what the truth is because we have many of those who like to scam in the name of Kemet. You see, and that's why I named this Pseudo-HOTEP scam gods and their cult of personality worship. They are more into the worship of their own personality and the personality of those whom are basically co-signing their ways than they are with the truth. Well, me, I'm a little different because I care more about the truth and my people getting the truth than I care about any type of monetary gain, than I care about any type of, pseudo fame or whatever you want to call it. I love teaching my people though. If anybody don't know anything about me, if you're not familiar with me as an individual, one thing you can say is that every time you see me, I'm teaching my people, and that's on every social media page or platform that I go on. This is what I do, and I don't ask nothing for it. I just would like to bring these things to the manifest because those who should have told you these things have hid the truth from you. They have sworn oaths to conceal and never reveal what's real. But I'm this special one that's coming here, and a hierophant. The duty of a hierophant is to take the cover off of all secrets and lay them bare before the world so that they can see what's really going on. So if you're looking for the truth and you know that the truth will make you free, then you're in the right place. So to the family that's watching, be sure to like this video because that's what get the algorithm boosted. Share this video, subscribe, tell the people about it because this information is to uplift you and uplift fallen humanity. So again, my subject title is Pseudo-HOTEP Scam Gods. Ain't got nothing to do with the ancestors because I honor my ancestors. I honor Kemet. You see, and the true founders who laid the foundation. But to those Pseudo-HOTEP scam gods and their code of personality worship, oh, we on your heels. And boy, do we have a grand drawing to bring on the manifest tonight. Brother Idris, we at it again. Islam, brother, we got a powerful measure to bring to the manifest, and this is picking up where we left off. Goodness gracious. As we have some issues with our connection, so I wasn't able to play my song, in the intro like I normally do, so I had to kind of get manual with it. So if you heard it a little different part and self, I just wanted to make sure I give an intro and keep that intro the same, and all is well. But we definitely were able to put some more memory on this thing. I still got to add a little bit more. I was able to find the files that I couldn't get to last night, so that's a plus. But what we have to bring before you now, I already got it locked and loaded. I got a full clip right here, man. The whole thing over here. How many other rounds that you think can fit in this demonstration? And boy, oh boy, oh boy, we're going to pick up where we left off at last night. So if you was in here last night, then you already know what it is. But we finna get to a whole nother level. We basically expose who the culprits are. We expose that these people don't know what they say they know. We expose that these people claiming to teach papyri, but ain't put no papyri up there. I was the one to put the papyri up there to let you see the papyri. You see what I'm saying? I showed you the papyri last night. Not them individuals that was out there fat mouth and running their beak, so to speak, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get to it right now. We're going to pick up where we left off, and I'm going to share my screen. I want to give honors to my brother Neil Bay, Charles Warrell, Body Bay, Idris Amir, Keys. We give honors to you as well, family, because we definitely got the keys. And we finna civilize the heart and mind, of our people with these keys. So I'm going to share the screen right here. We're going to get straight to the business. We ain't going to be no delay or none of that. We ain't going to be another second late. But we're going to get on this time right here. Okay, so here we go. All right. We're going to start with this particular measure right here. And this is a powerful demonstration. When I tell you it's powerful, family, it's real powerful. So, actually, it's right here. And then I go to that. Let me blow this up here. We were speaking to our people because we had the gentleman that we dialogue with on the brother Sarnetta's channel, the brother they call Kalam out of London. His name means the pen in Arabic. But I ain't seen him demonstrate no penmanship that, the ancestor Tahuti would demonstrate. And he's trying to encourage our family that they should read Greco-Roman texts. When Brother Commission here is telling you, no, we should retranslate the text, for we have our people reading and studying anything. I got about 5-6 different copies of the Egyptian Book of the Dead over here, right next to me, E. Wallace Budd version and a couple of more of them. But when it come down to dealing with those are books that I'm looking into, and I critique these particular works, you see? And I'm saying that it's time for us to transliterate our own works. And that's what we getting ready to do. We doing it right now. We already on it. They ain't on it. They want to be content with dealing with what Rome said, but we ain't going. So this particular measure has to do with what I was telling our family last night, where I asked the brother to pull up the alphabet chart, or the original chart that existed before Champollion. And this is my question that none of them can basically answer. And he was saying that the answer to my question was in this information that I have on the screen. So I'm going to read this so that the family that may not be here will see what's going on. And I'm going to go into these sources that he was trying to reference me to, since he wanted to make it seem like the alphabet was here. And we finna expose some things. Remember, if you was here last night, consider this right here yourself as twice blessed, because we finna pick up what we left off at, and you already got a foundation. So listen to this. This is what the brother quoted from yesterday. And he was talking about the category of the material that we need to be reading. We need to be studying, right? So here it says the 110 cultic works consist of manuals and priestly knowledge. It's what the brother's saying we need to know in order to speak on Kemet. And if we don't know this, we ain't got no business speaking on Kemet, but he don't know it. You know why? Because all of this stuff was revealed in Demotic and Hieratic, which they don't even deal with. The majority of this work is dealing with Hieratic and Demotic, at least the ones that they quoting from. But they over here trying to tell you that we need to be reading from somebody's translation of these texts and not our own translation. That's the problem I have, since he want to do so much critiquing the Kemetic community. So it says ritual manuals, religious, poetry, magic, and teaching material, right? Priestly manuals are by far the most numerous, and they include the Book of the Temple. Oh, he loved to say that, the Book of the Temple, the Book of the Temple. That's the theme. We're going to talk about the books of the temple right now. It says about 20 different copies, a treatise on the ideal temple and its personnel, the Book of Thought, and some 10 manuscripts, a kind of catechism with questions and answers by the God, the Book of Fayum, hieroglyphic, hieratic, and demotic, occult topographical treaties pertaining to Sobek. Sobek. Remember, I told y'all that Sobek was venerated, in the center of Fayum, in the center of those who are claiming today, to basically be following the teachings of the ancestors, but really following the teachings of those who basically reconstructed Kumumbu, which was really known as Nukt by the ancestors. Another Greco-Roman or another Ptolemaic temple, so to speak. You see, we know Sobek came from a more ancient time, but by the time Sobek reached, the Ptolemaic period, Sobek basically became a god to those particular people. But anyway, it says the hieratic book of Note. It says astrology, 5 copies, which 2 have a demotic commentary. It says among the ritual texts, all written in hieratic, there are 6 copies. It says of the opening of the mouth ritual, 5 of the offering ritual, known from the temple reliefs. And I actually have a lot of this stuff right here, family, too, which it'll take a lot of time to go into those books. But a lot of these sources I actually have stated my premise from in the past. And I've showed that a lot of the so-called books of the dead was translated in hieratic before they were translated in these so-called transcribed into these pictograms. We're going to get into that tonight. It says, and even a text with musical notation. The religious poems are still largely unpublished. Several of them related to drinking festivals in honor of Basset and Vine Horos, right? Whoever that is. Magical texts are rare, no more than 10 in all, and written in hieratic. To the teaching manuals belong the hieroglyphic dictionary, and this is when we finna get on. There is no such thing, family, as a hieroglyphic dictionary. What they are calling the hieroglyphic dictionary, that's what we finna get on. We finna expose this madness again. You see, you got to know how to read, because people tell you anything, but this is what he was making reference to when I asked him about the alphabet chart. He's saying that if I go into what he stated, that I would basically find the alphabet chart, that supposedly exists before Champollion. Now watch this. I'm going straight to the sources, just like I did last night. I'm going straight to the sources that he mentioned, but he didn't show you none of them. Remember, I showed you the papyri last night. It says, to the teaching manuals belonging to the hieroglyphic dictionary with commentary in the demotic. I want y'all to remember that. Hieroglyphic dictionary with commentary in demotic. So this is an admixture of pictures and demotic. Keep that in mind. It says, and the impressive onomasticon. Oh, they like to come up with such elaborate words, which consist of a dictionary of Middle Egyptian words, arranged systematically, verbs and nouns treated separately, and an encyclopedia of priestly knowledge. Oh, they got an encyclopedia too, huh? The papyrus, which is reconstructed by J.R. Singh. And I got some stuff on this guy right here too. So I'm gonna pull all this stuff they claim, and they got this hieroglyphic dictionary with commentary and demotic that's supposed to exist, before Champollion. And watch what happened again. Y'all already know how it's gonna go before it go that way. But yeah, it's gonna go bad for them again, family. You can't sell that snake oil to the people now, because I'm here. So anyway, they're calling this what they call the Heratiche Papyri, again, of Teptinus. Remember, we was in Teptinus last night. We spent a few hours in Teptinus last night. But now that y'all know what it is, and y'all know it's nothing more than something that came from the Ptolemies in the first place, we ain't even got to go that far into it. It says CNI Publications, Copenhagen, 1998, from hundreds of fragments, was originally more than 10 meters long. So I mean, that's the main gist of this right here. Because I want to go into the aspect. I ain't got to deal with this other stuff, talking about these other measures that's dealing with, the pharaohs and Alexander and all that right there. I'm finna go look for these dictionaries. Y'all gonna go on this journey with me. We looking for this dictionary that they talking about had hieroglyphics and demotic in it. And we looking for this impressive omasticon right here. We looking for that. And we looking for O'Sheen work, which they also call an encyclopedia as well. And watch what happened. Watch how this thing turn out. Let me look at my audience real quick. And what we're going to do this right now. Just for good measure, we're going to drop the link just in case our family want to get up here and get in here while we here. And we'll let you in. Anybody can come up here as long as they respectful, and we can move in with this particular bill. So that's the link right there. So let me go to my next slide. Make sure I'm still in the queue. Yep, I'm there. So now that we see this here, and this is, look at what it says up here, Temple Library, Tepidness. So that's what this document is dealing with here. You know what I mean? We showed you last night what this thing dated from, 200 BC and AD 199. So you already see how far, this carried over into the modern times. You see they got demotic, hieratic, hieroglyphic with a few Greek fragments and old Coptic notes and papyri. But they don't have the papyri here. This is supposed to be their so-called homepage, Leuven homepage of papyri collections, right? This is the source that they depended on right here, right? They got all the numbers and the citations and everything. We're gonna expose all this stuff here. They got big names on here, Oxford, Yale, all that, huh? Okay. Now, this was the page that I had up early. We're gonna give you some backdrop and history on this right here. Now, notice this is called the Listen Weston craft, lexicography and philology part itself. And this right here is a measure where they're going to try to run down the history that you normally hear. See, this is what y'all got to understand. When you look at history and you're looking at what we call perspectives, there are those who read information and accept that information as the law just because they read it. But then there are those who read information and they can see through the folly because they are critical thinkers. They're not, possessed with a sheeple-like mindset where they just follow something just because it's wrote down. You can put me in the second category, the latter category. I'm, a critical thinker. So you can't just tell me anything and I'm going to run with it. So one thing you have to understand about Western academia, their narrative is always going to be the same, and they repeat it over and over and over again. So you'll see it in this book, you'll see it in that book over there, that book over there, because it's in a million books, and everybody said the majority rules. It make it right, huh? At least that's how some people think. I don't think like that. You can't just tell me no anything just because Rome said, and I don't even care if Western academia behind it, and I'm going to just accept that and run with it. I'm sorry. My brain don't work that way. I'm a critical thinker. And masterminds able to trace themselves back and thus say no. Let me check and see if we got somebody trying to get on that link. Nope. Okay, so I'll be going back and forth because when I'm doing this, I can't really see what's going on. So I'll be doing this. So anyway, in this particular measure right here, we want you to hear this because we don't hide nothing, but we want you to hear this closely as I read it to you. So let me get into it because I got a lot of ground to cover. It says, reflecting on language as a system presumably began with the first communication attempts between speakers of different languages. For us, this reflection becomes evident with the invention, let me blow that up too, with the invention of writing and with the decisions regarding what kind of linguistic information was depicted by the means of abstract symbols, right? complex ideas and concepts that can be understood even without knowing the respective language of pictographic writing. How you gonna know a language if you don't know an alphabet behind it, right? So they're saying, basically what kind of linguistic information was depicted by the means of abstract symbols and complex ideas and concepts that can be understood even without knowing the respective pictographic writing. In other words, you got to deal with either metaphysics, you got to deal with metaphorical measures, or you got to deal with symbolic interpretation, esoteric. Anytime you're going to understand a concept without having an alphabet chart there, right? So it says specific words are syllables. It says of a specific language, Egyptian hieroglyphic writing and their cursive equivalents, the hieratic and demotic, right? Now, there are scholars that term, the hieratic and the demotic. They say, well, this is equivalent to the hieroglyphics. But I have information that have proved this to be wrong a couple of times. So I'm reading from this source right here, but I'm showing you how in critical thought I'm able to separate the truth from the falsehood. We know the narrative, they want you to believe that, but we know different based on the facts, because we have the hieratic paper that existed before a lot of these facsimiles was created with pictures on. You see, the facsimile was the fake, and the hieratic is the primary source because it was on paper instead of somebody carbon copying it, to a sheet of white paper, basically. So, I mean, that's obvious. So it says all single signs and alphabet scripts, including the Coptic alphabet. The last two types of script only need signs. For those sounds and sound combination that exist in the respective languages that are perceived as necessary enough to be encoded by their community. The latter issue explains the high number of different alphabets. Now, when they said the last two types of script, they were referring to what they called the hieratic and the demotic right here. You see, in other words, the last two types of script, hieratic and demotic, only need signs for these sounds and sound combinations that exist. And the signs for their sound are not pictorial, they are actual symbols. And we showed you what hieratic looked like a million times. We showed you what demotic looked like, and they're not pictures. We showed you last night what demotic was. We came straight from demotic text with no pictures involved. You see what I'm saying? So let us go on. It says ancient Egyptian writing is as old as the Egyptian state, and it appeared at approximately the same time as writing in Mesopotamia. A series of ivory labels with place names and numbers was found in the pre-dynastic royal tomb, right? And this is Uj in Abydos in 3150 BC, right? It says, which indicates that, watch this, the hieroglyphic writing system was already advanced at this point of time. Now, what people will automatically say, oh, that means that they was writing hieroglyphics. Stop it, people. Watch this. What are hieroglyphics called? What's the definition of a hieroglyphic? Holy impressions, sacred carvings. So the symbols that you see on the temple were not wrote, even though the people that are writing in this particular article are using the term writing system. They didn't write these things on monuments. They carved them into monuments. They impressed them and stamped them in wet mud, basically. You ever seen somebody pour concrete and then people go in there and they draw their name in the concrete? Well, in ancient Kemet, the reason why a lot of those symbols and pictorials are so perfect is because they were stamping them in wet mud and letting them dry. Facts. That's how they did. That's why they call them holy impressions. They were making impressions in wet mud. They let them be semi-wet till they somewhat dry, like a 50-50 in between, and they stamped them. That's why they was always the same side. That's why they was always so perfect, because no one would be able to carve in limestone, family. That perfect, with all of those symbols being the same everywhere you go, like that. You see, so we're giving it to you like it is. So they wasn't writing no hieroglyphs. They were carving, certain measures here and there, but they were more impressing them. You see, but they wasn't writing these things. You wasn't writing. You ain't getting no pen writing in no stone. Stop the madness. So what people would try to do is reason and rationalize and say, all right, since these symbols exist, then that means that they was older than the written form. Fool, the written form, which was on papyri, and the hieratic was in existence, they was doing this around the same time. That's why pretty much hieratic goes back the same time period when they was stamping things in mud. But if you think that hieroglyphics was something that they was demonstrating like they doing it now in this new era and time, that's why they're telling you they can't speak it now, because they can't prove how it was spoken, how it sounds. You can't speak a language that you never heard. So what you telling me that these people, when they wanted to say something to each other, they would go out there and carve it in the pyramid or carve it in a temple and then say, hey, come over here and read this, buddy. Read that right there that I just put up there. And that's how they communicated with people. Some people would be ignorant enough to believe, yeah, that's how they was texting during the ancient time. They was stamping it in wet mud. So you had a bunch of people over there stamping mud. And that's how they talked to each other. They was stamping the mud on the wall. And that's how the language came about. Can you imagine people communicating like that right there? That's terrible if you believe that. So anyway, let me keep reading this right here. I'm checking to make sure ain't nobody trying to get in there. And if somebody is, I'm trying to let them in. So let me keep reading this here. So family, ain't no stamping, in no conversation. You don't stamp in mud to communicate with nobody. Them symbols that was put on that wall or those monuments were really decorative. They were decor. And not only that, they had, again, higher meaning that was only known by the priesthood. And they didn't teach that stuff to the public. There are formulas that are connected to these symbols. I demonstrated it time and time again. That's a whole thing that I'm going to be able to teach on later. But I'm trying to show our people the difference between the two. Because when you limit, the pictures and try to make them into letters and symbols, that deal with an alphabet, you're actually taking from the greatness of the symbol. Because if you say, well, this just represents the letter J, or this represents the letter B, and you taking a particular symbol, and that's what it is, ain't nothing else to be learned, then you taking away from the science that the priesthood was demonstrating. We done showed you how this is possible, but we're going to show you for real tonight. We're going to show you from some of your best Egyptologists you like to lift up. They finna prove what I've been saying all the while. I already done did it last night, but I'm finna do it again. Just like I do it every time. But this one here gonna wake y'all up. If you were sleeping, this is gonna wake you up, baby. Check this out. So anyway, like I said, there's no such thing as hieroglyphic writing, because hieroglyphics were always known as sacred carvings, holy impressions. And that ain't how people communicate on a day-to-day basis. The metal ray incumet, which is known as the hieratic, is the actual language of the people of Egypt, not the metal netta. Metal netta, again, is more for the priestly, more for a higher understanding of unfoldment and so forth and so on. It has so much wisdom that's just locked up in one of the signs, one of the symbols, and you can just go into infinity, when you really go into the breakdown of these things, when you're dealing with it from an adept's perspective. So anyway, as we go on, it said the hieroglyphic script never lost its pictorial character because it allowed its users to provide additional semantic information instead of sounds alone. And this allowed plays with the Egyptian script that are not possible in more abstract writing systems. They're talking about metaphysics, right? These benefits, among others, are the reason why this type of script was used until 4th century AD, over a period of 3,500 years, and thus longer than any alphabet, right? So here they trying to tell you, that communication with pictures, was demonstrated longer than any alphabet, right? But I like to give our people this example. When the pictorials was brought on the manifest, and I got a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna end up going in when I have this discussion with this guy, if he ever take the want to debate it or whatever. There's a grander history behind a lot of this. When you look at it, if you can see a photo album, family, a photo album gives the expression that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you were to flip through a photo album without anybody writing on, what was going there, you can pretty much see what's going on. Oh, they partying over here, they barbecuing over there, they hanging out over here, they crossed the way, traveling over there. You know what I mean? That's basically the same thing can be demonstrated with what we see written on the walls of Kemet. Our ancestors pretty much wrote, about themselves when it comes to their actual records. And then they put holy impressions or impressions of themselves or sacred carvings of themselves and how they live their lives in the wall. So that's their movie. That's their life, in stone, basically, what they were doing. That's why you see them working sometimes. You see them building. You see them erecting obelisks. You see them doing a lot of things. They were demonstrating science, technology, engineering, mathematics of their time. Some of the stuff that modern day scientists still ain't been able to fathom yet. So, what we call mental netta, again, is just basically simply being able to read the book of creation, observing phenomena, and really understanding the science of life. That's the real aspect of mental netta. Why do you think they call it they say language of the gods, right? So if it's the language of the gods, then why are these atheists out here trying to act like they teaching about Kemet? You see, I thought you didn't like God, Brother Reggie. And ain't no such thing as God, and everybody that deal with God is converts. So how you going to explain the language of God? Did God talk to you like he talked to Moses? Brother Reggie, did God talk to you like he talked to Muhammad? Brother Reggie? Huh? Answer that question right there. Because if you going to say that these Europeans was right about their translation, they translate the word netta as God. Since you want to always, you translate the word, your name is Commission, so that automatically show me an Egyptian dictionary again where the word Commission is in there. The word don't exist in a dictionary of neither E. Wallace Budge, Allen Gardenia, who it is, Gaston Maspero, all the little books, James P. Allen. None of them have the word Commission in there. Anybody that know automatically what's being stated, when that word was stated, Commission. And Kemet simply deal with the land. We already know that. So in other words, what you are calling, asking the question about and wondering, well, how can you say this if we ain't deciphered the language? Because it was deciphered with an alphabet that's older than the language that y'all using now. And I ain't talking about, no pictures. I'm talking about the hieratic. It was the hieratic, and it's a certain language that was used, and I'm going to get into that later. Them pictures ain't got nothing to do with no decipherment. So when you look at certain things, for example, you see a cat on the wall, you know what a cat is. You see what I'm saying? You see a dog, you know what a dog is. So the word, mostly if we look at one that is deal with a deity, Anpu. Anpu is not a letter. Anpu is a personage, a principle, so to speak. You see, Alsar is not a letter when you see Alsar depicted in the sign list of Gardenia. Alsar is a principle. And that's what a lot of this that I'm finna get into gonna touch on tonight. You see? So, we're gonna give it to you like it is. So there is no true decipherment according to the method that Champollion used. Like I said, you can only deal with an alphabet, or come into the language of a people, or even deal with a concept of decipherment based on alphabets, not pictures. So anyway, it goes on. Watch this. It says explicit emic statements about how the Egyptian script worked are rare and date very late in Egyptian history. Now watch this. The so-called sign papyrus from Tanis in the 2nd century AD arranges hieroglyphs in their late period shapes according to their semantic meaning: standing men, sitting women, fallen men, animals, body parts, etc. This list is laid out like a table with the hieroglyphic sign at the beginning of the line. It says followed by its corresponding hieratic sign and explanation. So in this particular papyri that's known as the sign papyri of Tanis, this is where Alan Gardenia got his idea to come up with a sign list comparing pictures to letters. This is where he got this from. Champollion followed up. So now we getting down in it. Y'all ain't never seen this right here. But there's a problem with these things because I have this. I'm going to go into it. The way that you see these things being applied here or compared here, you're going to see a real big difference when I pull up the real papyri. You see, you're going to see a difference. This is the facsimile, which you'll mostly see. But there's a work out there that go deeper into this. So this is where they come up. Alan Gardenia, the one who had his sign list, this is where he come up with this. Now notice these signs are here, right? But if you look closely, some of this stuff so chopped up and pulled apart. Basically, when you look at this here, you will see a word on the side of this. So these are actual words. Just like you see a particular sign. And let's just say this was this picture right here. Let's just say that this was man, right? So this basically would say man. You see, it wouldn't be a letter, like one letter. It represents one thing. You see? And now note, this stuff was originated way after ancient Egyptians. This particular style right here. But this is what they're trying to call, encyclopedia. And so forth and so on. This is what they're trying to make into a dictionary, right? And this ain't got nothing to do with what they talking about, and we're going to prove it in a minute. Notice they said the so-called sign papyrus from Tanis. We're going to get into this in a minute. So hold your horses. Watch this. Now watch they say, the so-called drawing papyrus of Tanis. When we was talking about Tanis last night, another kind of list can be seen with Demotic papyrus in Saqqara. 1 in 27 that's arranged according to the phonetic criteria and not according to the graphic criteria. This papyri provides a list of bird names in acroponic sequence. If y'all ever seen Gardenia's sign list, matter of fact, I'm going to show you real quick. So yeah, because I can't assume that our people, I can't assume that y'all know what this is when I say Gardenia sign list. This is Gardenia sign list right here, family. This is an example of it. If they open it up, I look like you don't even want to open the picture up. Goodness gracious. I'll tell you what then, we'll stay right here. Ain't no pressure. I'll just blow that up. So this is Gardenia's sign list. He normally put things up here and then he'll have a Unicode on the side of it. This is an example he do. And then he had his sign list created, and then you had those who actually created alphabet charts, tried to compare certain hieratic letters to these signs. And so the first presence of that is coming from the Romans. Like I told them, the Ptolemaic period. Like I keep telling the people, that's what they're talking about here. So it say this papyrus provides us a list of bird names, an acroponic sequence, and each item, is integrated into a short sequence with another term with the same initial as the memory aid. Then they went into a transliteration here, Par-Heb-Heter Habian, which means the ibis sits on the ebony tree, right? Then they gave another saying this is Shimi Nef Benu Ray Babli, or Bibli, maybe Bibli. So this is the Benu bird went to Babylon. These are different things that they are dealing with in transliteration, right? Now, all of this is supposed to have to do with demotic rights. Notice, again, in this thing, they're using a picture here, but then they got, and they really calling this demotic, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's really hieratic that they got up there. So anyway, that means that whoever wrote this article also don't know what they're looking at. And we seen some of them do the same thing, regging them. They don't know what hieratic is either, or demotic. It says the papyri of Carlsberg, 7 in what they call the Oxyrhynchus. It says other papyri that use bird names to memorize phonetic order. Such documents are presumably from a didactic context. Do y'all know what didactic means? I'm going to show you if you don't know what didactic means. That's what hieroglyphics basically represent. It's didactic art, right? Didactic. It means intended to teach, particularly in having more instruction or ulterior motive, right? Instructive, and so forth and so on. Now, look at this. When you look at didactic art, this kind of art is called didactic art, right? Meaning that the artist is trying to tell the viewer something specific using art as their means of communication. Artists do this through careful selection and arrangement and combination of conceptual and formal content in their work. So when you look at didactic art, that's basically what hieroglyphics represent. They're giving you a message through pictorials, not an alphabet, right? I just wanted to add that on since they mentioned the word didactic, in this particular reading that we're dealing with. Look it up. You know what I mean? So it says again, such documents are presumably from a didactic context, and they allow us to reconstruct an alphabetical sequence that can be traced back to the 15th century BC at the latest. And y'all know that ain't long ago. It says, although such sources attest that the ancient Egyptians sometimes use a purely theoretical sequence based on the sound of words if they wanted to list them, they never felt the need to reduce their script to these single sounds and to develop a real alphabet. There you go. They're telling you that the Egyptians, when it come to their particular measure, they was dealing with words. They wasn't breaking no things down into sounds. And they didn't intend to do that and develop a real alphabet. It is we who take them people's stuff and go to saying them was alphabets. That's why if you try to talk to the ancient Kemites in this language that has been created by Champollion and modern Egyptologists, they wouldn't comprehend what you are saying. They won't comprehend you, family. It's real deal. It was not before the Greco-Roman period that the Egyptians started using alphabetical writing. So in other words, the Egyptians started using alphabetical writing after the Greco-Roman period. And these people had been slaves, had become oppressed under the Ptolemies and the Romans who had been ruling over them. We're going to show y'all that too in a minute. We're going to get into all of that. So it says, and for doing so, they modified the already existing Greek alphabet according to their needs instead of inventing a new one from the scratch. And this adapted Greek alphabet is known as the Coptic alphabet. So they saying that the Coptic alphabet was created by Egyptians that was under Greco-Roman rule. But the problem with this is they tell you that the script came into existence as pictures first. They call them hieroglyphics, hieratic next, demotic next, and then they say Coptic came after that. So anytime in Egypt, so they're moving the goalposts. So when you speak on the language of Egypt, speaking solely by Egypt or Kemet, you say that Coptic was the last form of it. So how in the world are you putting Greek before Coptic? See, this is how the European try to, there you go. That's that truth and falsehood strangely mixed. You got to be a critical thinker. Either Greek came before the Coptic or Coptic came before the Greek. Which one? And we already know the real answer because I done showed y'all this before. I showed you what they call in Greek is nothing more than a alteration, of the Coptic. They just dropped a few letters and then kept what they wanted. And then now this become the Greek alphabet. And then they're going to make you think that the Greek, was there first. And no, they added on 6 letters. And this is what created the Coptic. We got to stop the madness. You see? So anyway, they show that same little chart that I just exposed yesterday and showed you was pseudo hieroglyphics. This is a pseudo chart right here. A lot of this came from Champollion. But then they go into what they call the reconstruction of the Egyptian alphabet. It says Egyptian students had to learn their grammar, and a few of their exercises are still preserved. They are mostly written in Demotic, as with the Demotic papyrus of Vienna. That is an exercise on conjugation patterns. We can understand that if you're dealing with Demotic, because Demotic is a real alphabet, not pictures. A few older examples for such linguistic exercises are known as well. The wooden writing board in Berlin, which is 8934 from the Ramesses period, for instance, gives a short sequence from the teaching of Ani in the middle of late Egyptian, which helped the student understand older phrases of their language, right? It says, while Egyptian approaches to linguistics are only known from these later times, these lexicographical interests is already attested in the Middle Kingdom and so-called Ramessium onomasticon, there it is again, was written at this time. Preliminary approaches are even known from the Old Kingdom. Such onomastic lists were not composed purely out of lexicographic interest, but to serve as inventories for what the gods created. The introduction to the onomasticon of Amenepi, and we're going to go into this, Amenope, pardon self. It says, this purpose explains the focus of these lists on the natural world, place names, and other geographical terms. I keep telling you, them pictures deal with people, places, and things. See that? Natural world, places, names, and other geographical terms. That's what the sign lists represent. They don't represent no alphabet. If I see a cat, it's a cat. If I see a dog, it's a dog. Where do the words come from to speak of them? The Demotic language, the hieratic language, and then we show you the picture of what a dog looked like. And then we just place it there in hieratic or Demotic. See? That ain't hard, is it? The respective terms were collected in lists and arranged according to Semitic categories. The Ramessium onomasticon presents this as an actual list. It says, while the onomasticon of Amenemope, later examples are written as running text. It says similar inventories are also known from Mesopotamia to a far greater extent. Here, this branch of science is labeled today as Lessing-Wissenschaft. Now notice this is named after another European, right? They're calling this a branch of science, a term that was coined by German scholar von Soden, and is also used in English scholarly literature for lack of an appropriate English equivalent. Gardenia edited most important pre-Demotic Egyptian texts in 1947. Now, I got a source that show you what Gardenia was doing. He was going in there talking about he was dealing with the alphabet and then hiding the original text, the hieratic, basically like a monkey do with a peanut. You take the nut out and you throw the hull away. He threw the original papyri away, gave it to the British Museum, and then he took the facsimiles that he created off of them, the transcripted text, and he got everybody fooled right now. Scam God phenomenon. And you got personality worship coach don't know no better. They going off what somebody told just because they done said this a million times. And we already know what happened with a lie. When some people tell it over and over again, they begin to believe the lie. And they can convince other people to believe the lie. So onomastica from the later time collect other word classes, writing board from Scoian collection with verbs of movement. Onomasticon, it says of Amenepet, Mopi. It says also completely preserved. It says but contains only 610 terms, which is surprisingly short for an inventory of divine creation. Many parts of nature, animals, culture, commercial products are totally absent from this onomasticon. Moreover, it is unclear whether its order is based on contemporaries or ontological models or individual decision by its author. Nonetheless, it is not canonical because the older Ramesseum onomasticon shows a different arrangement, even in its fragmentary state of preservation. In addition to these proper onomastica, similar lists of terms and items were integrated into the so-called miscellaneouses of the Ramessid period. These miscellaneous, it states, are collections of model letters with religion, royal hymns, didactic. There you go again, that didactic, right? Reproaches to lazy students, administrative content, requests from workers, and with brief onomastic lists, mostly on administrative topics. Born products, tributes from the Nubian province. The main purpose of these miscellanies is still debated. Yet it is possible that they also serve for education in order to make future officials familiar with their technical vocabulary, according to J.F. Quack, and their integration into such model letters, it says, would perhaps make them less boring for the student. This is somebody right here trying to make something look good. They want to put lipstick on a pig, and it's still a pig. But anyway, such onomastic lips, it says, were actually taught at school, as can also be indirectly proven. But the tale of the eloquent peasant, this is one of the ones that your boy remixed, Gardenia, and the journey of Winemund, it states, contain long lists of product which obviously were written down with ease by their scribes, and it's perhaps not a coincidence that one copy of the former text was found together at the Ramesseum Onomasticon. It says, at the latter, together with most complete copy of the Onomasticon of Ameneope. It states the Onomastica from the Roman period had to cope with the additional challenge of outdated terminology. How? When you don't understand the terminology. For this reason, the Tepnis onomasticon contains a Serpullinia. It states editions of more recent translations, and this provides an additional important insight into the development of Egyptian language and also the Egyptian worldview. Moreover, the Tepnis onomasticon, along with other onomastica from this period, adds further information to some of its items, and thus it stands on the border, it says, to priestly handbooks and texts of normative knowledge. I wanted to put this out here so that our people can see it. They go your citation right there. Same thing. All you got to do is really come up here, and deal with the top of it. So this is them trying to give a little explanation and make it sound good. But upon investigation, hold up. Let me see if I got somebody right here. All right. So yeah, if you want to come in here, I'm going to drop this link too again for you. Okay, there we go. Our family asked the question, okay, is Kim a version of Ham? I don't know. I messed around and put didactic in there. Pardon self. Let me see right here. Give y'all that link. Anybody want to come up here? I don't kick you off the panel because we disagree. As long as we respect it, we can get it in. So, isn't Kim a version of Ham? Kim, is the original name. We say Kim or Kim, KHM. Sometimes people say CHM, which connects to chemistry and Kim. KHAM is what they say in the Hebrew terminology. You also see that in the Coptic dictionary as well. But Ham is just a sense of dropping the K. Actually, K and KH, H and KH is interchangeable. It's in the laws of what we demonstrate when we call it sound shifting. For example, the letter T and D have a relation to each other in the language. The letters U and W have a relation. The letter P and B have a relation based on what language it's in. So, Ham is just the English version of trying to say Cam. That's exactly where they got it from. Yes, sir. There's a relation there. But people don't know this if they get caught up into, a bunch of rhetoric, they're going to go against that. You see what I'm saying? So now that I've read that to you, we're going to go to our next phase and really get to exposing this stuff. Y'all know I translate something quick with Google Translate. And this is a particular document from your guy that I told y'all about earlier. Remember I was saying I was going to show y'all something from your boy Jay Olsen, because this is the stuff that your boy was coming from. Remember, this is the same name. Look what it's talking about here. They was just speaking on the Carlsberg papyri in what I was just reading. They was just speaking on that. The Hieratic papyri of Tepnis, right? They talking about it right here. This is the same thing that was mentioned over here, remember? When I was speaking on the dictionary that we looking for that they claim they had. Where's that? There it go right there. You see it? Remember I showed y'all that? By your boy, Jay Olsen. Hieratic papyri of Tepnis. This is it right here. So we're gonna stay on track, right? So let me go into this particular document, but obviously I definitely got to translate this in order for y'all to see what it is I want to bring forth. I'm gonna get into the essence of this measure right here so that y'all can see it. This is as simple as you do. When you see them put some Greek documents up here, in German and all that right there, or France, sometimes you can take it off of here, just like this right here, and go right over here to Google Translate, put it in there. It's going to detect the language. You see the German over here? Some of these words you can see papyrus still coming through there, tannis coming through there, but this is your English version right here, like we was doing last night. So they can't hold nothing back from you if you really want to get it. You know what I mean? I can't make this stuff up right here, family. It says the next large section, listen to what it says, starting on page 141, deals with the material sacred material is what they're saying, of Egypt. Some of these texts contain parallels to the geographical papyri of Tanis. There it is again. It says the section begin with lists of holy places in Egypt. Place the herbs and sais. It says in the earth, in the houses of life, sacred trees and other places, priests, priestess, manifestations of Isis and Hathor. And then follow suit a passage on the dimensions of Egypt. It says from the section on the hierarchy that was previously announced, the world of the gods, in which earthly offices of the king dowers are distributed to the world of the gods. So it's talking about the hierarchy and the deities, in other words, the Neteru and all of that right there, right? It says for the end, at the end, there's a section. It says about protective snakes in various places, which originally ran about 150 contains snake names, and the conclusion of the papyrus is formed in an extensive astronomical calendar with various lists of deccan systems. They describing a particular papyrus, a translation of it, and night calendar with the length of hours and of the individual months similar to that of the versio, of the large one. day election calendar, as well as a whole series of festivals, lunar month, and it says the Koyak festival. And the second papyrus contains similar things at the beginning. First papyrus calendar, meteorological part, page 221, 229. They cite in their little source. This is followed by monographs on the individual districts, and some of which are excellently preserved, and important additions to Tanis papyrus. We're going to go into some of this stuff. The text included the outer sanctuary wall of Edfu. Edfu is also a temple that was built by the Ptolemies people. Another one of the temples that were reconstructed, like I was showing you how they like to go and remix and remix some stuff. The Ptolemies were good for that. It says it concludes with partial parallels to the first papyrus, with remains of extensive lists of material sacred of Egypt, page 248 to 258, including unfortunately poorly preserved lists which different animals are identified with individual gods, together with the lists above it, which individual minerals are assigned to gods. So they saying a lot of these deities, like I've been teaching y'all, and I've been saying that a lot of the symbols represent, formulas, and they represent, things that deal with what we can even find in the periodical table when we get down to the mathematics of the elements. These things correspond, with the deities. You see, so this is science right here when you're looking at it from this standpoint. What they're calling gods and Neteru, these really represent minerals. This represent elements. That's why Atum represented a particular expression in the cosmology, which is like the atom. That's why Shu and Tefnut represented the breath and moisture. See what I'm saying? That's what they're talking about right here. It confirmed this presumption already expressed by the rector that all living and inanimate matter is probably due to the Egyptian word of the gods was divided, right? So they're touching on all this stuff right here in this particular measure. But watch this. It goes on mainly the parallels to the second and the fourth papyrus handed down. The series of the list of the gods include numerous names of demons, referred to as what they call the Setmu, interrogators. You can say accusers, right? That's what they call them in the religious text, right? Accuser, the devil, wickedness, right? And with the sunbark related deities are otherwise known from the temples of the Greco-Roman period, e.g. the ceiling of the Paranois in Dendra. You see? So the sunbark related deities in Dendra is what they're talking about here. If you've never seen Dendra before, see, this is in the ceiling of Dendra right here. I'm going to blow this up. That's the temple of Dendra right there. But they actually went in there. The Romans took the real ceiling out, and they actually replaced it with a fake ceiling too. A lot of people don't know. They literally took the real ceiling out, replaced it with something fake, and then basically took the rest, in other areas to put in museums and so forth and so on. So these deities, the Neteru up here, is what they were referred to, and they saying that this really represent basically things dealing with the sacred, material, what they call a manifestation of the deities, the gods. And this also is a representation of, cosmology, and also the elemental realm is what they're saying, right? So this is the type of stuff they be talking about. So we know that this temple was remixed too, and this is the calendar, one of the oldest calendars, expression of the calendar, in the world. Let me show you the stone version so you don't think I'm trying to get a full version of this stone version. Yeah, I know y'all done seen the light bulb pictures that the Egyptians was dealing with right here. With the jet pillar, they definitely was on their signs. Keep letting people tell y'all a lie and say them people wasn't about their business. So anyway, this is just a reprint of, you can say that somebody remade it. This is decor, but this is the stone portion of it. I couldn't find the whole, it's in here somewhere. Let me see. There you go, right there. Yep, that's it right there. That's it. This is where the so-called zodiac or the world of animals come from. See that right there? That's where your constellational demonstrations come from right there. And if you look at the shape of this, now you understand this is actually a artwork that's basically showing it. This is real didactic art right here, family. But this represents the constellations. Kemet put this stuff in stone. Europeans stole it and then Greek mixed it and called it their own. They had a 360-day calendar. It was 4 deities, that represented, the other expressions. See, there you go again. This is just another bust of that actual calendar system, right? So we see all of this stuff right here. But you got to know the difference between falsehood and the truth, family. You got to know what truth and falsehood strangely mixed is. And that's what we're trying to show you now. So now that we read that to you and gave you that particular portion, we're going to move on and give you this. We still harping on this so-called library of Tepidus, right? It says the Tepidus Temple Library provides, this is what the brothers say, you got to know this stuff, you got to study it. But if you're studying it from a Roman, Greco-Roman, or a Ptolemaic standpoint, you still ain't doing no justice. I say you got to retranslate it and then teach that to your people. That's my point. The Tepidus Temple Library provides a unique opportunity to investigate the operation of an institutional library from ancient Egypt. This chapter focuses on a range of formal features, paleography, and the maintenance of texts and manuscripts, an analysis and comparison of formal features, the choice of new versus reused papyri. That's very important too, reused papyri. Choice of script. It says in the use of guidelines and pagination. It says with contemporary material from other sites reveals variation in practice and indicates general local trends. However, there's also significant variation within the temple library itself, and some features are closely linked to specific scribes and their personal habits. The many distinctive hands attested in the library leads to the related question of paleography and orthography, and the extent to which these factors may help to determine the province of specific texts. Finally, the maintenance and transmission of texts and manuscripts through correlation and corrections, repair and recopying is addressed. And this right here is actually coming from the scribe repertories. It says in Egypt from the New Kingdom of early Islamic period right here. You know what I mean? And notice the demotic, if you can see it right there, it's kind of blurry. They basically running down the same thing that we just talked about this particular material that this brother was talking about. Now we finna get into the nitty gritty. We want to see what this onomastica look like. We want to see what this so-called dictionary and so-called encyclopedia folder look like. So we tap into the British Museum right here, right? We see the demotic right here. This is just random papyri here, right? They got the onomastic of Amenhotep right here. And I'm just going around. Now, let's hit this. Hold up. I'm trying to get in there. There it is. Hieratic text. You don't see no pictures in here. See, this is what I'm talking about. They be telling you hieroglyphics is up in there. You don't see no, and how many times I got to do this? Like, come on, man, stop the madness. This is from the British Museum right here, people. What them pictures at? Where them animals at? Now they saying that they talking about the animals in here. They talking about the gods and the, the calendar and the universe. That's what they claiming. But we don't see none of that stuff in here. You see? So they give you a whole rundown. All you got to do is look this stuff up. This is one of the things here. Look like they gave Bud some credit in here, so maybe he had something to do with this particular papyri. I wouldn't doubt it. But this is what I want to get to. This is finna expose all of this stuff. So they've been trying to make you believe, or the brother came on here the other day to try to make you think this was some type of encyclopedia. Watch this, a dictionary. Watch what it says. It says the onomasticon of omnipot. We just showed you the pictures of it, and all the different expressions of it right here. The same thing they talking about right here, and the same thing they talking about in what I was reading. Watch this. Watch what it say. Let me blow this up. I want to make sure y'all see this. Notice it says an Egyptian encyclopedia, right? It says onomastica. Onomasticon is the Latinized writing of a Greek word, plural, onomastica, used by Egyptologists for ancient Egyptian compositions comprising lists of words by category. These are not dictionaries, kalam, or explicit encyclopedia, because they do not include explanations for the words. So we just killed your whole argument. Up here, we're going to go back to the original text. I told y'all again about playing with me. You said, we reading your source. If you ever see this, look. You said that my answer to this alphabet chart I'm looking for will be found in this so-called hieroglyphic dictionary. I just showed you what the onomastica is. The onomastica is right here. Let me pull it up again. That's the onomastica. You ain't showed me no alphabet chart up here. Like, man, we got to stop deceiving the people. So again, it's saying here, impressive onomasticon, which consists of a dictionary. This information don't agree with what I'm reading over here in this other information I just showed you. This here, what you cited, saying that it's a dictionary coming with Middle Egyptian words. It's talking about an encyclopedia of priestly knowledge. And then when we come over here to the actual breakdown on the information right here, again, a masticon is a Latinized writing of a Greek word, onomastica, used by Egyptologists for an ancient Egyptian compositions comprising lists of words by category. These are not dictionaries. Did I make that up, people, or is this up here already? These are not dictionaries or explicit encyclopedia. So this does not agree with this information you cited in this source, sir. See, that's why you got it. And you didn't never show the book. When I asked you for the alphabet chart, you talking about I'm going to get my answer in the information you brought forward. Yeah, right. You was trying to make the people that's listening to you believe that you had an alphabet chart. The same thing you did when I spoke you 2 weeks ago. You didn't have the chart and you pulled up an Arabic chart. I'm going to show y'all. I keep making reference to what he pulled up. I'm finna show y'all what this guy pulled up, people. So y'all can actually see how disingenuous this brother is. And they talking about he's supposed to be the Sarnetta of London. This guy is a sham god and a scam god too. So watch this. And I already had this locked and loaded in my information. Now it's pulling up. This is what I was trying to pull up last night, y'all. That wouldn't pull up, but I got this stuff already in my information here. I'm exposing it. Where everything come from and all of that right there. Just give me a second here. I do got two portions of this right here. Give me 1 second. Not that one. Where you at? Where you at? I did have two I got two charts on this. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Not that one there. I hate when I have. See, I got so much information in here. I'm gonna do it like this right here. I can do it this way quicker. That way I ain't gotta waste nobody time. I'm gonna do it this way. Close this on out right here. And we're gonna do it this way right here. He pulled out this right here, family. He pulled out this when I asked him for an alphabet chart that existed prior to ancient Egypt. And this alphabet chart, my people, is the alphabet chart of Ibn Washir, right? And he's comparing this to pictures, this pictorial script. But this don't exist in Alan Gardenia's or E. Wallace Budge or Champollion's chart. The letter A to them represent a bird. This is letter A in Arabic right here, people. That's being compared to this. This is not even a part of now one of them charts they create. Nor is this. This is the letter Y in Arabic. That's the letter Y in the Arabic. This was supposed to be, according to your boy chart, Champollion, they say it's a reed leaf as a representation for the letter Y, sometime too. So why is it representing the letter Y? So they let you know what Ibn Washi was trying to put together was totally different than what Champollion was demonstrating. And they ain't the only one that had it. I showed y'all last night how we got two different Hebrew languages, and each one of them got their own pictorials, you know, that they use for their own particular language. So who right? Is Ibn Washi right? Is the Hebrews, you know, version of it right? The two they created? Is the Meroitic right? Because they got a different version too based on pictures. But guess what the people call these? The actual scholars call all these alphabets, like they created like this, they call them pseudo-hieroglyphs. They call even the pictures that was created by the Canaanites, Proto-Canaanite, Proto-Sinaitic, they call them pseudo-hieroglyphs. It don't mean that wasn't the language of the Canaanites, but they just wasn't real hieroglyphs because they wasn't demonstrating with the intended purpose that the Egyptians demonstrated. The Hebrews didn't have the intended purpose of the Egyptians when they came up with trying to build an alphabet, and Champollion did the same thing. So we can't leave him out. If they calling Proto-Canaanite, you know, if they calling, you know, the Hebrew characters I showed y'all last night, if they calling that pseudo-hieroglyph, and Champollion came later and created his own, he got pseudo-hieroglyphs too. You know, so like if we keep going over here, you know, like this right here is the letter R. You know, you can't really make that out, but I know this right here is normally the letter H, you know, in what they would call their chart. So y'all think I can't go into that stuff. I told you, I don't play with pictures. Just because I don't play with them don't mean that I don't know what y'all be trying to do. But this is a letter J in Arabic. So what's going on here? Somebody tried to use another chart saying this is the letter H and the J and the H ain't even nowhere near each other. You know, then you have here, you know, there go your reed leaf right there. You know, and right up under that right there, they got the letter R. You know, in fact, this right here in Arabic, if you were reading it this way, this would be like shatter, S and R. If I was put, I can say shara if I would have put vowels in between it. But anyway, but they got this R as a representation of what they call the reed leaf, which is the letter Y. But he pulled this up when I asked him to pull up a chart that predate what Champollion was demonstrating that was created by the ancient Egyptians. He pulled up an Arabic chart. That's when I really started. He talking about he don't take me serious. That's when I really stopped taking him serious. And we can go on with these measures. This is like the feather here, and that's like look like the letter dot. Because I see, you know, actually that's side because there's no dot on it. You know, like this is a symbol here. Look like what they normally have is legs or something like that there. And this is kind of hard to tell. It look like a letter T, you know. But this is Ayin right here. And look, they have this in the symbols they call. They say this is Amen. Most people in the Kemetic teaching say this is Amen. Amen. Some people say men, right? This they say is the letter R. But this letter here is da that they have right here. This is da, TH or DH sometimes. And they have the letter R as a reference. This they say is the letter S. But here they have under this the letter Lam. Lam and S, two different things. You see? Man, we can go on and on and on with this stuff. But why would you pull an Arabic chart up, you know, and then come over here and try to scam the people, bro? Huh? Why would you try me like that? See, you might get away with the people with your eloquent in your ignorant speech, because that's what we got in this community, family. We got a lot of people who went and got a PhD degree in eloquence, but they are eloquent in demonstrating ignorance. And the eloquent sound good, so it automatically make you think that they right. And oh, he got a bachelor degree, he got a master degree, but he's still ignorant. That degree can't hide you from the ignorance. You pseudo-HOTEP scam god you. You know, like, stop playing with me. And they erased the brother Marcus. You know, they actually erased. I'm gonna drop the link again just in case anybody want to come in here, because I know I done stirred the ethers up now. But you know, brother Marcus, you know, Marquise Parr and Seth, you know that these cats actually deleted the video. I know that was Reggie doing, because I beat him up. You might have been there. It was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, about 2 weeks ago, this guy Kalam, because Reggie went and got it. I asked him for the alphabet chart. The same question I've been asking the rest of them. He couldn't produce it. You see what I'm saying? This is crazy. Now, it's going to get real ugly in a minute, because I just showed last night who these so-called gods was, and they was all Greek deities. Now, watch this. Let me keep going, because I'm almost done. I'm just showing y'all that these people be lying. So anyway, back to this particular record I was reading from, which it shows you that this is not, again, when they said that, these are not dictionaries or explicit cyclopedia. So when they telling you that the Masticon of Amenhotep is supposed to be a dictionary, bro, that's a lie. So it says the 2nd century AD includes the verbs as well as nouns, all other onomastica. It says contain nouns only. The oldest fragmentary example of about 1800 BC, the Ramessian papyrus. All onomastica would have provided instruction in both broad vocabulary and standard spellings, but there are no sources on the precise way in which they were used. The onomasticon of Amenhotep, it says, is the only composition including a name compiler or author, whether historical or fictitious. It says, and it is the onomastica known from the greatest number of sources of the Ramesside period in the late 3rd Intermediate period. One of the best preserved copies is in the 3rd Intermediate period, papyrus from Hibba in the Middle Egypt. It says acquired by Valdemar Golenschiff, often known as the Golenschiff onomasticon. So they name these things after themselves when they find it. Finders keepers, losers weepers, right? So it said it served as the basis for the main modern edition of the composition. And then they quote Gardner, the same source that they talked about, Gardenia 1947, dealing with that demotic. They done did it again. They got it right there. So here's their translation. The thing is, they translate this stuff with Kemetic drawing. You see the word Sabait, you know that means teacher. You know what I mean? Hat Amin Sabait Wa'ib Meti Kim, right? That's Rex, Weknun Nukt, Kaman, Ta, what is that? Sekpirin, Dajuti. You know, they got a whole bunch of stuff. This is what we call a transliteration right here, family. Now, this is the translation of what they talking about. Then I tell you, sabate mean teaching. You know, I ain't gonna act like I know all these words, but I definitely know what I'm looking at. Then I tell you that was the duty, you know, right there, thought. But this is their translation, right? This is what he was saying. We need to study the teachings of our ancestors. But you studying somebody else translation. It's all right to read this here, but where your translation at, bro? Where our translation at? We got people been studying Kemet for maybe 60, 70 years. And we ain't got our own scribes that's supposed to be so committed that's teaching the language as they claim they are. And we ain't got our own translation, bro. Something wrong with that. So just like you trying to critique Kemet, I'm on your heels, Kalam, and I hope somebody show you this video. You know, this all right to read this and what they claim is a translation. We know it come from the Demotic text, didn't come from no hieroglyphics. We already just showed you that right there. The original papyri is in the British Museum. So we ain't dealing with no pictorials right here. It's straight Demotic papyri. You know? So watch this. Beginning of the teaching, explaining the hard and instructing the ignorant. What's the word for hard if y'all know anything about Kemet? This word here, ib. Ib is the word for hard, right? It says to know that all exists created by Ta. It says brought into being by Tehuti Athoth. Thought, that's Greek names too. But it says the sky with its feathers and the earth and what is in it, the being of the mountain, what is washed by the primeval waters, consisting of all that is useful, illuminated by Ra, the sun, right? All that is made to grow upon earth, reported by the scribe of God's books in the house of life, Amenepet, son of Amenepet, you know, who says, again, and this the word list they was talking about now. Here it is. When I was reading that to y'all earlier, the different categories, which they trying to say, oh, this is an encyclopedia. Man just told you up there when I read it at the top, this is not an encyclopedia. Sky, water, earth, gods, spirits, kings, officials, people of groups and groups of people, foreigners, you know, and it goes on and on, family. The Golden Shift manuscript, they done took claim again. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. And that's why our people crying right now. Crying a Nile River, you know, as a result of these people taking our information. Stop playing with me. You see? Ain't no Kemetic encyclopedia or dictionary, bro. What's wrong with our people? And they try to get this stuff off on our people. Here it is again. It's speaking on the Ramasium of Masticon now. See that right there? I ain't gonna read this whole thing because I just read it. It's just reiterating the same thing. You know, it's just letting you know. Look, it says Ramesium of Masticon, which dates from the end of the 20th dynasty of Egypt, no earlier than the ring of Ramesses, right? And that's Ramesses the 15th. No, Ramesses looked like the 10th, pardon self. You know, so it says, let me see right here. It may be the earliest, it's a surviving record of knowledge organization system. And this document is preserved in papyri called Onomasticon of Amenophi and Onomasticus compilation that began in the Middle Kingdom. Ramesium Onomasticon is administrative literary categorization of 610 inch, same information, hierarchically, pardon self, rather than a list of words in glossary. So they telling you right here, same thing I just said. This ain't no dictionary, family. This is not an encyclopedia. Again, the Ramesses Onomasticon is an administrative literary categorization of 610 entities organized hierarchically rather than a list of words glossary. So you're going to tell me this is where I need to go to get the answer to my question when I ask you, do you have that alphabet chart? You say it's right there in the information. You will find it there. And we find out, bro, you a scam God. We got to get you out the community too. You know, just like you saying that we need to get these so-called pseudo, chemists out there, bro, you right there with them. I showed these people papyri last night, and I showed them that the deities that in most of these papyri is mixed in with Greek deities. And I showed you who they is. I'm finna get into that in a minute since I showed it to him last night. The Theoadelphi, all Greek deities. It said it is known from 10 fragments, including versions of papyrus board, letter, and pottery, of the 9 surviving copies that preserved Golden Sheaf papyrus is the most complete. They said it again. It was found in Hibba, the first copy of the Massacon of Amenophi, right? Same one they spoke of earlier, Valdemar, same individual, same people, like we can't do that. Look, and this is where it get deep at. It say it is content, its content includes many groupings. It says including heavenly objects, towns, people, offices, buildings, types of land, agriculture, produce, beverages, oxen parts. It lists several different groups of sea people and Libyans, including the Dununa, the Kekek, the Libu, Luca, Meshwes, Nubians, and the Sheridan. And a lot of these are really ancestors of the Moors, too. It says the Onimasticon of Amenhotep is important research for scholars studying the ancient Egyptian life, the pharaonic administration, and the court and the priesthood, the history of the sea peoples, the geography and political organization of the Levant during the New Kingdom, and the third intermediary period, early Bible studies. Then they go into the wicked order they got on this. Like, come on, bro. There your boy again, smooth criminal, Alan Gardenia. He'll steal some and remix it in a minute. And y'all out here praising these one. That's why I named it Pseudo. Look, Hotep scam gods and their cult of personality worship. Watch this. We ain't done yet. We done almost, but we ain't all. Watch this. Here's another measure. I ain't got to read this here. This is talking about the same thing. They showing the same record here. There ain't really a whole lot up here. They do say here that this is really repeating what was said in the UDN. This is just 610 entities organized hierarchically rather than a list of words. So this is not, stop lying, talking about you got the ancient Egyptian dictionary and ancient Egyptian encyclopedia, bro. Because when I know the truth and I put it out here, make you look bad. See, here's another one in the University of Chicago Press of Journal. In the journals, watch this. Same thing. Several lists of things have been recovered from the remains of ancient Egypt. 2 major, several minor examples of them recently have been edited by Sir Alan Gardenia, who has adopted for them the term onimastica. That's where that term came from. Catalogs of things arranged under their kinds, the original meaning of the word. So now you understand why Alan Gardenia came up with his sign list, and then he came up with what he called, a categorization. He called them animals, men, a group of the deities. He used all that terminology right there when he created his sign list. I'm going to show you right here. Let me see if this right here pull it up. Yep, this right here look like it'll pull some of his stuff up right here. This is just a random site, but it's yeah, there it go right there. See it right here? This is Gardenia. That's where he got it from. His concept of putting that stuff together. See, seated man. See what I'm saying? Man with hand in the mouth. Yeah, all that right there. Then once he get through with that, he came to this section. A woman in her occupations. Bro, this is not an encyclopedia right here, bro. Neither is this a dictionary. This is the onimastica, the same type of thing that would demonstrate. Gardenia got his concept of this from the concept of the onimastica. That's why he got, the what they like to call determinatives. We call them markers. And then in the onimastica, they actually have demotic writing written on the side. So this is a picture, but it's being explained. And that's how all hieroglyphics should be seen. They shouldn't be seen as alphabets. All of them should be seen in this category. This is a seated shepherd, as they call it. That's what he called it. Man holding a knife. How you know that's a knife? It could be a stick, but that's just what the European think it is, because they got a violent nature anyway. Why you can't be sitting down instructing students? Why it got to be a foreigner with a stick? How you know he foreign? Alan Gardenia. The noble seated in the chair. How you know this ain't somebody just sitting on their porch in Kemet looking out into the desert? You know what I mean? We know what the flail is. That Osiris had one. That represents a sense of royalty. You got the crooked and the flail. The kneeling noble with the flail. This is all the same thing when they talk about the animastica, that is being arranged. See, they got the woman in her occupation, anthropomorphic deities. They got a section for them, the parts of the human body. You know what I mean? This is all of that. This is the way that glyphs should be seen as they are, what they represent. See, they'll say this represents the letter R, but really they say this represents the letter mouth. But who is to say that this is really a mouth? How you know that this ain't something else? What if I say it was a spaceship? I'm just giving an example. You got to stop going on what these people saying. Now, this look more like a mouth than anything because you can see the teeth right there. That's obvious. Then you got to ask yourself, when did these symbols come into existence? Have you ever seen them on the ancient pyramid temple? If so, then show us where it is. Give us the attestation, the date, and the actual site where you can find this at. Or did these come into existence during the time of the Ptolemaic period? Because remember, it wasn't but 700 signs, and then they mixed them in 7,000 Ptolemaic signs. They added 7,000 Ptolemaic signs to this. So look at this. We know this is obviously, this look like a hand, but why it couldn't be a glove? They say this is a hand with water. Why it couldn't be a hand with a string hanging from it? I'm just trying to get you people to think. The ones that want to learn. You know what I mean? Some things are obvious what they are. We know some of these things are what they are. But my thing is, like they trying to say that the masticon, is the dictionary. In all actuality, we just expose the liars again. I done exposed the liars so many times. So when they said up here again, when they made this statement right here, it said it may be the earliest surviving record of a knowledge organizing system. And it say this document is preserved in a papyrus called the Masticon of Amenope. It says on a mastics part itself, a compilation that began in the Middle Kingdom, the Ramessium Onomasticon is an administrative literary categorization of 610 entities organized hierarchically rather than a list of words glossary. And I just showed y'all that right here. So we got him again. So you run around here telling people that this Gardenia's list is a dictionary. You saying this is a glossary. And you trying to act like we didn't have this. So you made reference to this when I asked you, where was the alphabet chart? If I ask you what an alphabet chart, bro, and you gonna give me Gardenia's sign list, that tell me that you do not comprehend what you read. You can say you got a scholar's degree and all this here and try to go at the other brothers shooting shots at our good brother Jabari for having his priesthood and shrine. You want to go at him. Then you want to go at the brother Tehuti. Me and Tehuti got things we disagree on, but you ain't got no business trying to type the brother, and your information ain't no better than what he demonstrate. You went at everybody else that you thought wasn't demonstrating Kemet, but you the right one. And you just got exposed. So watch this, because these are the last little portions before we close down. Oh, we ain't playing with them, family. Here's a work right here. You can find this out here. And it's called the Two Hieroglyphic Papyri from Tanis. Because remember, we dealing with Tanis. We still harping on that. The sign papyrus, a syllabary, the geographical papyri, an almanac. See, they using this here. Listen to the language they're using, right? They're saying this is an almanac. Same thing. I'm finna show you again the whole papyri. I showed you a few minutes ago, what they was talking about, but I'm gonna show you the whole thing. This is F.L. Griffith by Petrie. All of them had a hand in this here, right? Broach, and a lot of these people was on the manifest even before your boy Champollion started kicking his little thing. So right here, here's that actual demonstration here. This is the Two Hieroglyphic Papyri from Tanis. You can download this right here, on the net. All you got to do is go look for it and you'll find it, And it's actually going to go into, I'm finna show you the pictures right here in a second, of that same Amastica. This is the Tannis version. This is what he wants y'all to believe was the alphabet chart. I showed a portion of this to y'all earlier when I first opened this up. The people that's just coming in, this to get you on the refreshing aspect of it. Where is it? I'm trying to turn this thing, trying to rotate it. Let's see. Let me turn it with my hand. No, I got it over here though, because I got it right here. Here it is. These it right here. And this is actually coming from the book. Now listen to this book. This is the actual book that I just showed y'all. I'm just getting this ready for some things. That's why I got it in my slide. I ain't gonna read all this. I'm gonna go to the main aspect and it's gonna stick with what I'm saying. This is actually a part of my book that I'm putting together. So it says this papyrus is the first native list of hieroglyphics that has come down to us from the ancient times. It is at once highly interesting and very disappointing. It is of the highest, and this is actually Allen Gardenia saying this, the highest interest as being the only document bearing upon the system by which the Egyptians arranged and taught their huge syllabary. It is disappointing because we find so little system in it. We should have expected a more logical arrangement of the signs and a more method in naming them and more indication of a fixed order in the alphabetical signs, if not some correspondence with the order of that alphabet which the Phoenicians seem to have borrowed from the Egyptians. It says, from the considerable care with which the list has been prepared and from its extent, we must suppose that if any rigid method was customary, it would have been adopted here. And we are driven to conclude that the Egyptians possess no such system. So this is the book that has the breakdown on these Amasticons. And this is what Gardenia is saying. He see the group, but he's saying it was disorganized, and I can see that's why he came up with the sign list that I just showed you. Based on this, he created his own sign list and system, and then he basically said this ain't got nothing to do with no Egyptian alphabet, though. You know what I mean? And he went on here to tell you where the rolls for this was found at. I'm gonna go through it untouched. It says all except, it says two are from the house of what they call Bakakiyu. It says the numerous rolls will contain religious as well as legal texts. Some were perhaps connected with the plans of a new restored temple. So this is again during the Ptolemaic period. So they restoring another temple, they call it, but they really remixing. That's what restore means to the Ptolemies. It says the geographical and other lists in the papyrus which Mr. Petrie has copied, which is number 103 with the scraps of a similar. It says, okay, 1, NOS 130 and 131. It says, what the enters of the gnomes and the feasts and the marshlands and the corrected by notes of minute hieratic at the foot, and especially the columns of the hieroglyphics in papyrus 118, in which the gods grant divine gifts to a king or emperor, whose cartouche is unfortunately left blank, seem as if they were sketches and notes to be expanded on some temple wall at Tanis. You see? So he goes in and he's basically talking about how these different things, like it was speaking of here, dealing, with different parts of the human body or different deities and gods, what I just showed you in his sign list. He goes into all that. Y'all can go and get this PDF yourself and go deep into it. And he shows what they had at Tanis. This is where he got the concept of creating his sign list. This is also where a lot of Egyptologists got their concept of comparing pictures to hieratic letters. But if you look closely on this fragmented text right here, and this is the facsimile. I'm going to show you the actual text, how it looked. This is like the copy version that they have. And I'm going to show you some comparisons between this and the original version. and show you certain things. So what this is just like the sign list. So if you look at Gardenia's sign list, this would be the picture of the deity, and then this is like what they call cursive hieroglyphs. And then they have the demotic breakdown or the hieratic thing as to what this represents. So that's where he got the concept. This would represent again the person, place, or thing, and then he describes what it is. So these words give description of what this is basically. This is not an alphabet, chart, as the brother was trying to call it was. This ain't no alphabet chart, and nor is it an encyclopedia. This is just listing the anthropomorphic deities, the men, the women, the animals, the same thing that Gardenia was demonstrating right over here. We just showed it to you a few minutes ago, right here. We just showing you where Gardenia got it from, where he got the idea from. So that's the deity right there. And it tell you, seated man. It don't say this is the letter A, or this is the letter B, and this is the letter C, because the hieroglyphics represent people, places, and things. That's what y'all don't get. You see? Yeah, we know words are made up of alphabet, but the alphabet is not these pictures. If you go back over here to what I was just showing you, the alphabet, let me open it up again. Well, actually, I got to go back to this. The alphabet is here in Demotic. So these are the things that are being described by these Demotic words. You see? And I'm actually go through here on my own time and try to make some sense out of some of the Demotic that's in here. And I'm going to put a lot of that stuff in my book. These are not hieroglyphics, people. These are literal alphabets. This is the thing here. We know that's the phallus, but then this is a description of the phallus in the Demotic language. So when I tell you that hieroglyphics are just pictures and not the words, it should be more than plain right now. This comes from the Tanis Papyrus. Look at how many of these they have in here. Look at it. It's a whole bunch of them. The same way. And he tried to make y'all believe that this is the alphabet chart. Oh my God. Boy, these scam gods something else. These scam gods something else. If I put this in front of them, now one of them, Reggie, Arkalam and Smash, none of them can read this. Not a one of them. You see? But they want to play. Stop the madness, people. A lot of this stuff, these people that's looking right now, my family that's on here with me, they ain't never heard this because y'all ain't never taught it to them. You know what I mean? But I'm going to give it to them. I don't care how much y'all try to silence me. The people here, they hear what I'm saying. He don't know what he talking about. He's pseudo, no matter how many sources I pull up. You know what I mean? You trying to dismiss the source because you can't deal with the information. Saw said it best, source up or shut up. So now I'm going to take you to the real, actual papyri. I just showed you the facsimile or the transcription. This is the actual text right here, family. You got to blow it up real big in order to see this right here. You see this? Now I'm going to go to this number. That's the number on the top right there. 1A, A1, right? Look real close to this here. That's a symbol. Then this is Demotic over here, even though you can barely see it. I'm going to show it to you on the other chart where you can look at it again. We're going to look at what we're looking for now. That's A1. That's actually a Roman numeral 2 in A1. So I want to find that, in the facsimile or the printout version. So let's look for it. Because it's here. You need the Roman numeral 2 and A1. There it go right there. See it? It's the Roman numeral 2 and A1. Now look at the symbol here. Look at the symbol here. You can barely make out what's being said there, so we can understand why a person would never know what that is. You know, I can tell you this is a letter B, this is a letter S right here. And this is actually the same symbol that they have up here. You know, look like it. You know, they done implemented that in there. Okay, and this is M. This is mirror right here. Mirror. That's M and R right there in the hieratic. You see that? M and R. I can't really make this out like I want to, but you know, I'm gonna look into it. I have to go into the attestation of that. But anybody that's familiar with the language know what I'm mentioning in the other aspects. So let me go over here. This is A1. Let me go back to the papyri. The actual there you go, right there. See it right there? See that? The pictorial. Then this is the demotic. This is demotic. Same thing. Just look a little bit blurry. That would be that B, and that's that same S. That's that same symbol, and that's the M and R right there. That's over here in the same papyri. This is demotic. That's explaining what the picture is. You see? Look like something dealing with some love to me. But that's a whole nother measure. You can only read hieratic from right to left. You see? Certain other form, they will have it coming down columns, but you normally read hieratic from right to left. Right? So, let me go to the next one. This thing done jumped up. Okay, there we go. I want to go down a little bit in that same paper so y'all can see this is the same thing. These are signs, family. See, they can't pull the wool over me. They talking about I make this stuff up. Y'all know how, you know it didn't take me but this day in order to get all this right here to y'all, right? I just really went into the depth of this information today. That's how long it take me to find this stuff. It don't take me no 2-3 weeks a month. That's why when I tell them, when they be like, when we gonna debate, you ready? I'll be ready right then. Let's get it in. You know what I mean? So let me go back up here. I want to open that up again. Like I said, these are the letters that's up under the one we just showed. Let me see. Okay. So yeah, we going up under that. Let's take a look at this and look at the other papyri as well. I ain't gonna go all the way through this whole thing because, like I said, I'm getting ready to close down. I don't want to be up too late, but we want to make sure our family get it. So yeah, see, these are the same symbols here. This is the real papyri though. You see symbols here, but then they're given a word that explain what these symbols are. These are not alphabets, family. Don't let nobody lie to you and tell you that's the alphabet chart. No. And then they tell you right here, hieroglyphic and hieratic text. And there it is again. That's a whole nother thing. It says an intanted sign of papyrus. It says large fragment in the bottom right, number 1067B2 2B. That's the number in which you can find it in the museum on Demotic text with Greek on the other side. You know what I mean? So when you see Demotic in Greek, you already know that this is coming from a later period. When you hear that term Greek, you already know what time it is. So this goes to show you, you know, where they got the idea. Even Champollion, you know, this is where he got his idea from. Oh, well, since they got words that can be compared to a symbol, but let me create my own alphabet system using the same methodology. And that's what I keep telling y'all he did. You know, and they don't believe me. This is actual source material right here, family. And this is actually different parts of the papyri. Let me blow that back up again, and I'm going to go down a little bit more. Okay, pay attention. Right here, these in the 3 row. This is your hieratic, you know, and your demotic, they mix them in. But here it is. Different symbols here, right? Now let's go back over here. Same thing. So y'all already got it. You can look this stuff up, family. I just gave you the sources where it's at. I ain't gonna just go crazy and just keep going over all this stuff right here. Because y'all get the point. I don't look at y'all like y'all dumb. We ain't got to repeat ourselves over and over again for y'all to get the point. I just want to use the hammer repetition a little bit. And again, here it is right here. They tell you the condition of the papyri. Look at that, EA10 672-2. That's the British Museum number. That's what it says. But this guy wants y'all to believe this is a dictionary and an encyclopedia, and we just exposed that this is nothing more than the same thing that Gardenia demonstrated or created his sign list behind. Facts. Facts, family. Facts. See the man with the stick in his hand, as they would say, then they explain what the man in the stick in his hand represents. That's all that's showing you. Now, here's another one. History of the Library of Tiberius, the temple of the Roman period. Now you know that this ain't from ancient Egypt. All this is dealing with stuff that's coming from the Greco-Roman and Ptolemaic period. It says 1931, Carlo Anti discovered a cellar, it says, of structures at the temple enclosure wall at Tepnis, Fayum. Same thing the brother saying we need to read, the books of Fayum in the temple. He don't even know these Roman temples, bruh. A great mass of papyrus manuscripts, many from the same field, were acquired by contemporary collectors. The anti-excavated find is preserved in Florence, and the larger part of the remainder is in Copenhagen. Same names coming up. A joint project with an international editorial board now oversees the publication of the documents. There they go, trying to control the narrative. The manuscripts are in the Egyptian scripts, hieroglyphic, hieratic, and demotic. Y'all already seen them. I just showed them to you. And in Greek, and they date principally to the 2nd century AD. And they may have become waste paper by the time of their deposition in the 3rd century AD. They provide a detailed impression of the contents of a temple library in the latest period at which the Egyptian scripts were still in regular use. And this is the temple library that he talking about, people. I just showed you books. He don't know how to read no demotic. He don't know how to read no hieratic. He trying to read pictures. So how he gonna teach y'all that? And then call Brother Tehuti and Jabari and all them other brothers out? How he gonna call out Young Pharaoh and Sarah Seti and these different brothers? I have my disagreement with certain things with them brothers, but how he gonna call them out? And he over here demonstrates some real pseudoism. Kalam, I'm on your heels. And the only reason I'm on your heel because you let Reggie put a basically battery in your bike and gas you up to come at me. And this is what you get when you attack me unjustly. You see, now I'm on your heel like I'm on their heel. And I know you really don't want to smoke. I believe you're a good brother. You see? But if you keep acting like you so intellectually educated and you got all these degrees and all that right there, I'm going to stay on your head. And you right over there with him and Smash and the rest of them. Because we're going to overthrow this madness, when it comes to people acting like they know something that they don't know. Smash already and them don't know none of this stuff. They running from it. That's why they don't want to get in the ring with me. So anyway, it is estimated that the find comprised remnants of around 500 manuscripts, about 300 demotic, mainly literary compositions and treaties, about 100 in hieratic, mainly related to the code of religious knowledge, about 50 hieroglyphic manuscripts, all in particularly fragmentary condition, about 50 Greek papyri, principally private documents with some template accounts, and given a date range from about 27 BC to AD 210. So this is long after Kemet done failed. Kalam, stop making it seem like this is some ancient Egyptian stuff. And you ain't even read the papyri. You reading somebody's translation of what the book said. The painstaking task of editing and publishing these fragmentary manuscripts is already transforming modern appreciation of ancient Egyptian writing and knowledge in the Roman period. So these are Roman time periods, bro. And these are Roman temples that these things were found. Man, the documents published, the preliminary reports so far include the following extensive and important manuscripts. 1 hieratic and demotic astronomical trees. Remember, it was talking about the astronomics. Remember, I read that to y'all earlier? They tell you in Newer Bar and Parker, they give you the page number, a hieratic copy of the Book of Fayum with hymns of Sobek. I was telling y'all about Sobek being venerated in these Roman temples as a god. He wasn't venerated as a god by the ancient Egyptians. That cult of crocodile worship started with the Hyksos. And then the Romans picked it up from the Greeks. See, it says 3 copies of 2 hieratic, 1 hieroglyphic of the same tabulation of religious knowledge as in the Tanis geographical papyrus. There your boy go, Osing. I just read to y'all the material from Osing. And it just goes on and on. All them books that he was calling out on the channel yesterday, I'm going all the way over there. I'm showing you this dude don't know what he's talking about because he don't read hieratic. He don't read he don't read Demotic. You know, he's a scam god. And those who would go into that, they only caught up in the personality worship. And they're looking for the next shrine of a sham god to worship at. Now watch this. This is the Tepnis papyrus. Another one of those found in the same region. Now watch what it says. I ain't going to read the whole thing. I'm just giving it to you. Commission going to always come with the sources, family. I ain't going to never just talk out the side of my neck. I'm going to give it to you with the, see that right there? Tepnis papyrus, right? This is just another version of them translating something they done come across. I'm just showing you what we got going on here. I'm going to really deal with the index so you'll see what's in there. Here it is. See, these catalogs they were referring to, look at what's in here. He wants you to believe this is Kemetic. Hessia catalog, the lyric extract, Sophocles or Sophocles. Who in the world? Who are these people in Kemet? He wants you to believe that these are Kemetic deities. Evidently, he ain't read this papyrus right here he was trying to quote from. The list of the trident. This is Greek philosophy, bro. Homer Odyssey. The decree of Antiochus and Epiphanes. And we showed you who these cats right here is. I'm going to show the family that ain't on here. I'm going to show you who Epiphanes is. So y'all know who this individual is. We're gonna point this stuff out, family. You know, the people that was here seeing it last night. I'm going to see if it let me copy it. Then I can go ahead. Yeah, there we go. We're going to paste it in here because we want to get this work done fast. We're at the end almost now. Look at this. Look at this, family. Huh? This is your boy right here. You see this madness? Let me go into all the images. Because sometimes they had the audacity to put the Atef crown on their head. This is your boy. This is what he telling us we need to study. We need to go into the works of all of these books of the Sabaeid. These are not the books of the Egyptian Sabaeid, bro. Stop lying. These the books of the Greeks that you talking about. And they had a hand in trying to remix not only the temple and call it reconstruction, but the alphabet and everything else. Here's your boy right here. Erigetes. That's being referred to also. Let me go back so y'all can see this here. See him right there, the second. These are the decrees of Erigetes. These decrees they was passing on the native Egyptian, my ancestors. Your ancestors, if you got it in your bloodline, to make sure that they could never rise back up into power. Huh? And you up here promoting it. Look at this. Look at this foolishness here. Let's blow this up. This is what happened when they reconstruct the temple and chisel out the face and remud it. That's Ptolemy, man. Look at them phenotypes. That ain't got nothing to do with our people right there, bro. That ain't got nothing to do with it. And these fake pseudo hieroglyphs they got around here. I ain't even saying nothing, but a lot of y'all will get up here and say, oh, this represents the letter S, this is Amin, and this is Neb. You know, and this represents, you know, the Fufu. You know, this is Mut. You know, this is Mut. Muti. Boy, goodness gracious. You know, let me stop. So, but anyway, let's go to another one. I ain't got to show you no more after this right here as far as dealing with who the people are. But I'm showing you that this ain't it, Kalam. These are not our people up here that's being spoke of in the Tepnis papyrus. Now they'll mix some names like Ra-In and all that. Here go your register of official business. I got all this papyrus. I showed y'all some of it last night. I got the whole breakdown of all this papyrus right here in Demotic. And in some of this stuff, them people, some of the scribes, Egyptian scribes, was in there talking about how them people tortured them, put them in the sun, made them stand in the sun and die from thirst and hunger if they wouldn't write some of this stuff. See all this here? Letter to a banker, petition of a prisoner and all this stuff right here. Who you think the prisoner was that was demonstrating the petition? The petition of the priest? These the Egyptian priests writing these petitions, bro. Notice to the chief of police. Lord have mercy. They had chief of police back then too. Declaration of oath. So you see where Rome got all their stuff from. Modern day Rome. They got all their stuff from here. Classification of the mummies. Yeah, it goes on and on, bro. We can't make this stuff up. You know what I mean? We can't make it up. And guess what it's written in? It's all written in Greek. It's all written in what they call in Greek. And we know Greek ain't nothing but a corruption of what is Coptic. See right here? How you gonna tell our people to go and study these books and they all written in Greek, bro? But you did admit that it was Greek. So we'll give you that to a certain degree. But I'm saying, how in the world, you gonna do that, bro? Why? Man, this is just overkill. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, man. Now, like I said, we at the end, but it's a few more things. Now I'm going into some of the actual translation of these Ptolemaic cosmological inscriptions. I'm going to show you why you can't trust them Ptolemies. See that right there? Ptolemaic cosmological inscriptions of the cultic evolution of the Temple of Derjaset. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here first to the top so y'all can see. This is coming from the University of Chicago. That one thing I can say about them in the University of Chicago, bro. They're going to put it out there. And they ain't going to put it out there. This these European, your little Egyptologists, and everybody else up in there. And they talking about the Ptolemaic and Thebes. Peter Dorman, one of the main one that be demonstrating. And he going in. And this is really dealing with the priesthood. This actually goes into a lot of the stuff about the priesthood, and certain things they came up with. Look at this. Here's everything talking about Ptolemy and Cleopatra, Egertes, same people I was showing you a few minutes ago. Texts of the East Doorway. These are all Ptolemaic documents, bro. I'm going to show you these measures up here where they trying to put Ptolemy on the level with Amun-Ra. See all that? Amun-Ra, Tobin, West Doorway. Man, these are their teachings. This is not the Sabbath teachings of the ancestors. So before you start trying to teach this stuff, brother, Kalam, all y'all, Smash, Reggie, go back and read and make sure that you understand what it is you demonstrating, bro. See it here? See the Ptolemaic? Let's see what Ptolemy had going on. Ptolemaic strategy. Capture of the Thebaid. Letting you know how he took over Kemet. The early kings and their queens, who had no small role throughout the period, had two primary aims in addition of fending off rivals. The ancestors, in other words. Mobilizing support for new politically centralized state and mobilizing resources. Sound real familiar, don't it? The bureaucracy and the military were the two organizations necessary for the stable extraction of surplus. And since Ptolemaic Egypt was a soldier state, as the Fatimid state was, it says outside of their realm, the Ptolemies faced a highly competitive, fluid international environment that at times put them under severe pressure. The kings needed to recruit new bureaucratic elite and maintain an army and create a monopoly of prestige for which Egyptian priests and temple ritual were important. It says the end result of the early king's promotion of a new bureaucratic military elite was mixed. By the end of the Ptolemaic period, an enriched elite often associated with temples was clearly well established in positions of local authority. What is altogether clear is that from the evidence that we have is the extent to which this reflects a social evolution as it clearly did under the Fatimids when the military grew in strength because of the ICTA system, the stipendary grants of revenue from the land, because he was giving people stipends, some of them priests that would basically take the 30 pieces of silver or that was in fear, or the status quo throughout that period. In any case, or the period, any case, early Ptolemaic strategy was based on a well-established patterns of coalition building. So he was building coalition, with the priests, and the priests, you know. This is another source too. So when y'all get a chance, you'll see it. You got the video, you can come back to it and get it. Like I say, I'm trying to wrap this up for our family because I done really proved what needed to be proved, but it is something else I want to point out here, dealing with these texts that they were talking about, especially when they trying to make them, the Sabaeat, the teachings of the ancestors. This is what I wanted to talk about too a little bit. The scribal offices and the families in Ptolemaic Thebes. I'm going to go to the end of it because there's so much here. I'm going to just give you the summary. And some of these scribes in the beginning were of native Egypt. And then after a while, it wasn't no more scribes. They just disappeared. I wonder how. So these are the names of some of them, the Greek scribes, the Ptolemaic. This is very interesting. They talk about the scribes of Amun. These were definitely those who had already existed in pre-Ptolemaic time. They was native Egyptians. So Greeks were never called by that terminology. Scribe of Amun. All the scribes of Amun, were ancient Kemetic scribes or whatever. They were the last ones that were left. I'm trying to get to this last little part where it sum up what happened. See, it talks about the decline of the scribal families here, and when they started to fall as a people. It talks about this paper as examining Theban scribal offices, the notary and his Greek counterpart, what they called the origономos, the land scribe and the royal scribe and the scribes of Amun. A considerable change in the organization of scribal offices took place between the early Ptolemaic period and the 2nd century BC. In the beginning of the Ptolemaic period, one finds administrative structures that already existed in pre-Ptolemaic times. As some scribal families can be traced back to the 13th dynasty, some members already bore the same scribal titles as in the later generations of their family. In the following Ptolemaic period, this is consistent with the more general thesis that the Ptolemaic state first had to rely on and work with these well-established, powerful scribal families. See, that was that, strategy that they came up with. It had no other means. In the course of the 3rd century, however, those few families might have become too influential, and the government wanted to change two important things. So they weren't going to let them, gain no strength, the natives. So they had to separate the offices that were attached to the temple from the ones that was attached to the state. Like the separation of the church from the state and all that. It says eliminates to eliminate the time and the latter could be held. And the second was to keep those well-known Egyptian scribal families from dominating governmental offices by making them non-hereditary. That's what they do over here with the boy. This is why you got to study history. Those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it, or even by eliminating them from these offices. So, they put them in there, use them first, to fully incorporate themselves into the culture, and then they basically got rid of them. You know what that means? That means kill them all, and a whole bunch of other stuff that come behind it. So here, they actually have the tables of the scribal families as the earliest period of them being on the manifest, and then they come all the way up to the time down here. If we go further, where they disappeared, and they were no longer present. So here they go into, this is some of the demotic graffiti that they have here. Watch this. Remember I was talking about the instruction of Amenhotep? That's some demotic instruction of Amenhotep. This is in the second great court of the temple of Medinet Habu, right? Look at this. Y'all think them people wasn't over there doing nothing? Y'all think them people wasn't over there doing nothing? Y'all think they just went over there looking for something and they wasn't trying to remix something? Huh? Like, I can't make this coming from a scholarly source. This is University of Chicago now. This ain't just a PDF. Pay attention. And it goes into all the graffiti, somewhat like what your boy was doing on all the temple. They got the numbers, where this stuff was put at, and everything. Look at this, all over through there. So how y'all know that stuff y'all read ain't a part of some of this stuff that they was doing? See the plan of the graffiti and everything that they wrote up in there, bro? Huh? Man, stop playing. So they showing you all this stuff that was put up in here. Everything. I want to get to this text right here because I got literally 2 more tabs left. And that's pretty much it. This is another measure dealing with the documentation of Medinet Habu graffiti. You see it in Demotic as well there. Okay. This is what I want to get into right down here. When they say source up and shut up, they are already shutting up. Now watch this. Ptolemaic statuses of priestess from Thebes. They got whole breakdowns up here. This is dates. I can turn that right there too, but I'll let y'all go into that. These are the Ptolemaic priestess. You know that ain't our people, the phenotypes. This was created as well. Under the Ptolemy rule, man, they got their own stuff. So if you don't know nothing about Kemet, you know what I mean? Every time you see something, you'll think it's us. Now you know why you see all them light skin, thin nose, thin lip phenotypes. This is all due to Ptolemy. They went in there and remixed that thing, man. 33rd dynasty. And that was the last pharaoh ruled 360 BC. So that's 360 degrees of complete knowledge. And then that 33rd came up in there, huh? See, these are cosmological inscriptions of Ptolemy and Lugersti's in the cultic evolution of the Temple of Jerseset. So if somebody telling you about this and they talking about they going to Kemet and they taking y'all through this, tell them don't take me over there to them Ptolemaic places. Take me to Abu Simbel. Take me to the Temple of An and Luxor. So now, this is what I'm trying to show you right here. Watch this. Ptolemaic cosmological inscriptions in the cultic evolution of the Temple of Jerseset. So now you see over here the word Keper, and which means who came into being, right? Shepere and Netiu, Neter, Pu, Irsu, what is that? Min, Hahu, Kame, Huf, Nefeto, and some more other measures up in here they got. But anyway, this is their translation of this family. Who came into being and brought into being the things that are, it is great God who made himself into millions, who created his flesh, the wind being his breath. It sounds good, don't it? The inundation being his sweat of the Nile, right? Who made the sea and the sky, who molded his limbs from himself. He having born the decking stars in their entirety. Oh, yeah, they're talking about panspermia being born from stardust and everything, right? Read on. It says, he having made the entering in and the going forth among them, and beloved of the PSEUDO-HOTEP. the PSEUDO-HOTEP, and the PSEUDO-HOTEP. Now, those who was looking at this stuff right here last night know who this is. So how in the world do they get involved with being in the creation? We're going to show you who these people is for the ones who don't know who the PSEUDO-HOTEP. Because you know that ain't talking about no Kemet. This is why I keep telling y'all. Hold up. Let me see here. This is exactly, it don't look like it's letting me copy that. So if not, I'm cool. Yeah, it ain't going to let me copy it. Because it's a university, they may not want to get that information out here. But it's still in the memory from last night, though. Let's see. Let me go back over here. I'm trying to get that on. Okay. It's Theoi. There it is right there. I want to show y'all who it's talking about up here. We showed the people last night. This is PSEUDO-HOTEP. You know that they done put in there. It sound like they were talking about Kemet for a minute till they put them names in there. See, Ptolemy of Philadelphia, and they was worshipped as brother gods. See that right there? That's who they references in, family. Look at that. See the name? PSEUDO-HOTEP. See, this is what we call truth with falsehood strangely mixed. You see? They done concocted and put this stuff together. See the PSEUDO-HOTEP, the beloved of them, how he get back in the time of the Kemetic cosmology and creation. Then you got PSEUDO-HOTEP, Philip same people. This one here actually got he actually got the crown. Hold up, let me do it like this. I forgot I can't put that in there. Let me get back. This one actually got the HOTEP crown on his head and everything. Here you go, right here. Look at this boy. Look at this cat right here, fam. Y'all see this madness? I got to show it to y'all again. I was really shocked when you see that? You know good and well that ain't no All-Star, that ain't no Heru, that ain't no Amen. That's your boy right there. You know what I mean? So like, and then this him in his rare form right here. So when you get up in there, you talking about you gonna be doing the hymns and the prayers of the ancestors, and no, you ain't, bro. You doing the hymns and the prayers of the Ptolemies. Fix that, bro. And then they try to make it better by saying, beloved Amen Ray of Jessuset. This is their creation. Noon, the elder one who came into being in the beginning, the bull who ejaculated Noon, who flooded the marshes, who fashioned the fashioners, who build the builders, who reckoned for himself his form in his heart, the ancestor and the ancestress of the gods and goddesses. He is their father who created their mother. It sounds real good, don't it? The Ba, the great sanctity among the gods, the primeval one, who made for himself the primeval ones. And who are the primeval ones to them again? Theo Epiphanes, Theo Eupator, Theos Philomena. These are children of Ptolemy. Come on, man. Stop playing with me. Now, when you go, it's crazy because when you come over here into the actually Kemetic language, it ain't even saying none of that they saying over here. This is talking about Neteru, Peru, Pa, Neta, Ratinu, Retinu, right? Then it's Neta, Mir, we know that's love, and Matuf. So how in the world they end up putting this in here? Now you understand how they found Ptolemy name on the obelisk and how they put Ptolemy name on the Rosetta Stone, because it was never there in the first place. They just superimposed the thought that it was there with these Ptolemaic concepts, and now they got people going crazy talking about they done decipher some hieroglyphics based off this foolishness. Like, man, I shouldn't even have to talk about this no more. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, you know good and well. Let's give him one more for a bonus. The elder gods, the first body that came into being aforetime, who passed through the chief gates of the western netherworld when Re united with Osiris. Okay, so we talking about Osiris, Osar, something that existed way before the Romans and the Greeks ever existed. Along with the mothers from the beginning, the primeval ones who first came into being, the fathers of Re, the children of Tatanim, the enduring noble ones indeed who have planted the primordial seed with their power. Sound real good, don't it? Sound very comedic, right? Who established the earth with the seed of the crop land, the great gods, whom Tetanin, born in Thebes, and in the southern of Opet, in the vicinity of the sacred netherworld in the mound of Jimmy, the great Ogdoad, and the mighty ones in Karnak, the council and the judges of victorious Thebes and blessed dead who lived on the mound of Jimmy, may they give millions of jubilees, celebration, right, in myriads of the years to the king of the up in Lower Egypt, the heir of Theo Epiphanes, chosen of Ptah. Who told him that Ptah chose a Greek? Who told him that the deity and the creator God, Ptah, chose a Greek to be king? Who does the justice of race? So they was executing justice when they was swinging that scimitar at our ancestors. Huh? And y'all out here celebrating monuments, talking about they done translated something with a Rosetta Stone that was created by the Ptolemy, when all this stuff talking about how we was conquered. Then you want to get at the Moors. Moors took part in enslaving the people. Lying. The living image of Amun, along with the sister and the ruler, the lady of the two lands, Cleopatra, and with his wife, the lady of the two lands, Cleopatra, and Theogertes. Again, the one I showed you that was wearing the Atef crown. The ancestors in the beginning, who came into being and brought into being that which exists. Who made the light and distant darkness, and lords and masters and wisdom and founders. Tell them what you're reading over there, Kalam. If you're going to tell the truth, tell them, because Commission done exposed you today, and you ain't going to be able to come back from this one, buddy. The ancestor gods and the mighty ones who protected those great of majesty, the primeval one who made for himself primeval one. But you know what they're going to say? Commission made that up. There I go again, reincarnating. You know, way back there during the time of Greek, I produced the paper, I made the paper up and all that. That's what they'll tell you now, just to get around this information. But the people see it. You can't get around this here, bro. We got you. So, and last but not least, you know, they even got their own little dictionary. They got their Ptolemaic lexicon. Y'all didn't, I'm surprised some of y'all Egyptologists ain't got your hand on this one right here. Yeah, y'all ain't get this Ptolemaic. Look at that. Look how big it is. You got a big lexicon over here for you Ptolemaic lovers. You Roman Egyptian lovers. You Greco Egyptian lovers. Here it go right here, y'all. There go y'all some more information that's been remixed for you. This is dictionary right here. This is a real dictionary, not the fake one you was talking about, bro. See it right here, is telling you what everything means. Look, right here. Okay, they'll say certain. Let's go through here and visit some of this stuff, because they say these things been translated, you know, according to our ancestors. So, okay, so they say that this word imenu means mystery, hidden knowledge. Oh, that sounds like some esoteric stuff. Well, I thought that was pseudo. Huh? Wait, let's see. In the epithet of a king of Hef Imenu, one who sees the hidden things, the great, the mayor. You know, mayor means great. That's actually the word mayor, mirror. Mysteries in the great place, who hides his belly at seeing the sacred place. The hidden place, eminent, the wet. Y'all already know the west is Amen. Amen. That's what they referring to. That's what they normally call it. Neb Shimu Imen Su. A minor deity hides or hid itself, in the hidden place. The dead gods live, says in the king's land. So these are some of the definitions in this dictionary right here. I might order me a copy of this one right here to beat you up with it. You know what I mean? Emin, the creative God. Like, man, this is overkill. So we know where them transliteration really come from. We're going to give it to them too. All y'all got to do is convince Reggie to debate me, and I'm going to give y'all all the truth. But I can't put it all out here because they're going to be scared to get in the ring if I throw it all out here. They already running. I don't want to make them keep running. I want them to get bold enough to jump in this water. Ain't nothing but some hot fish grease over here. A Ptolemaic lexicon. So if y'all want to look at that, and there it is, Greco-Roman language. We show you where it all come from. And that's pretty much it, family, in what it is that I brought forth. I'm glad I was able to demonstrate this in not a whole lot of time. This is actually one of my best ones in getting all that information out in such a small time block. So what I'm going to do, just in case it may be somebody out there that may want to come in here before I leave, I'm going to drop the link again and see if our family want to come in here, and let me shout my people out again. Again, Brother Arnell Bay, you already know it, bro. We Moorish to the core. My brother Charles Royale, Body Bay, Idris Amir Keys. You know what I mean? Y'all let it be known, man. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. Let these people know what we bringing over here, family. We gonna rebuild. Born dog, honest to your family for always checking in. Marquise, honest to you, good brother. They say, why you spell Hierophant like that? KGB. I'm going to tell you why I spell Hierophant like that. Because instead of using the term like they normally have it, I spelled it as Heru-Fant. Heru-Fant. Heru represents what we would call the spirit of justice. You see? But when we say Hierophant, let me give you the real definition of a Hierophant too, by the way. Let me show you what this means for those who don't know what it means. This is the word you looking for. This is what Hierophant means. A person, especially a priest in ancient Greece, who interprets sacred mysteries or esoteric principles. I ain't in Greece. You see? So that's why I put Heru there and put Fant there to let it know that I'm dealing with the ancestors. But I am interpreting sacred mysteries. I am also revealing esoteric principles. So when you see a Hierophant ain't a Hierophant if they won't tell you the truth. A Hierophant ain't a Hierophant if they don't want to get his stuff up. You see what I'm saying? It says in ancient Greece again, an official high priest of religious mysteries, right? Especially those of Eleusis. This is where Masons get their definition of certain things from. The person who interprets and explains esoteric mysteries. You see? That's what a Hierophant is. When you go into it, let's go into the etymology of it. Let's go into the etymology of Hierophant. Hierophantes, sacred, show, to reveal. See, so a Hierophant is not a concealer of the light. A Hierophant is a revealer, right? From the Greek Hierophantes, hieros, sacred, show, reveal. So you basically revealing sacred knowledge to people. That's basically what they saying to me. So I'm Hierophant, not Hierophant, but it carries the same measure to give the drawing, because we tell you, that we are revealers of the light. We don't conceal the light. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, I came to take the covers off of all secret organizations. And that's what lets you know that he wasn't sworn to conceal and never reveal, as our Masonic family is. They can't get up here and talk about this stuff. This is the same stuff that got G.M. James killed that I'm talking about up here, because he had took an oath, but honest to the elder, because he was willing to be martyred to teach our people the same stuff that I'm talking about right now. He tell you in Stolen Legacy, ain't no such thing as no Greek culture. You know what I mean? Because the people that was killing off the so-called Greek philosophers, was against them. So they ain't going to support no Greek philosophy. How did Greek philosophy survive when the people killed all of them off for practicing what they was calling Greek philosophy? You see what I'm saying? And I'm finna go deep. I'm finna go really deep. I'm finna show you something that's been hidden from it. Here it is again, Hierophant, expounder of sacred mysteries, right? From the 1670s, late Latin, Hierophantus, Greek Hierophants, one who teaches the rites of sacrifice and worship. Literally one who shows sacred things. Hiero, sacred, right? In modern use, expounder of exoteric doctrines from 1822, family. You know what I mean? We can't make this stuff up. So you see what that is. Now I'm finna give you a real key. Show you something that they hid in the Bible from you. You remember Joseph was given the name Zephaneh-Paneth by Pharaoh according to the Bible? The translation of his name, Zephaneh-Paneth, is he who deciphered the hidden. You know what made Pharaoh give him that, even though you don't accept the biblical narrative, you know what made Pharaoh give him that title according to the Piscean records? Because he could interpret dreams. So therefore, him having that knowledge, he therefore was acquainted with what we would call real mental netta. He was able to tune into the silent voice of the God that spoke within. And that's why we call mental netta the language of the gods. It ain't got nothing to do with a written alphabet. It's being able to listen to your ancestors speak to you. That's an African principle. You deal with the Igbo tradition, the Yoruba tradition. They all believe in tuning into the ancestors and speaking to the gods, and God speaking to you. They talk about prayer. Prayer is when you talk to God. Meditation is when you listen to it. The higher self within you. Now go further into this if you think I'm playing. Because I got a whole bunch of breakdowns on this. This is a whole nother book right here in and of itself. See that there? Watch what it says. Interpretations gives the meaning of the name of a man to whom hidden things are revealed. Targum, Pseudo-Jonathan, the man who revealeth mysteries. These are different people who are saying what the meaning of the name Zephaneh-Paneth means. Josephus said, a finder of mysteries. In his commentary on the Torah, gives the meaning explainer of hidden things. Same definition of the word Hierophant, family. One who revealing the secrets. See that? Bayabir Asher, 13th, 14th century gave the definition, one who reveals the secrets. The reason for these translations is that of feminine noun, Sephaneth, which means or refers to something hidden or secret in Hebrew, deriving from the root sepin, meaning to hide, to conceal, while paneth is a verb deriving from the root meaning to discover, decipher, or decode. This would give us a literal translation of Zephaneh-Paneth from Hebrew, is he who deciphered the hidden, like we doing right now, family. Stop playing with me. See? And it even goes even further into Zephaneh-Paneth, or Pankar, right here. It's the same thing that I was talking about. Many people tried to compare it to hieroglyphs and find a meaning, but they couldn't find it in, their pictorial writings. You see? Like, we can't make this stuff up, bro. So his name also became known as, I'm going to just show it to you right here. Let me get this out of here. You know what? I can do it this way. I'm going to show you better right here. So when you see this, you know what it is. I'm going to have to do it like this because I see they up here playing. I just scroll down my little timeline. See, I be teaching everywhere, fam. That's all I use my little Facebook page for, straight teaching. Here it is right here. This is the swift angel adept Jude that every scribe received as a part and parcel of my body. You know, we all demonstrated. See this name right here? Safek Pekeru. This is the true Kemetic origin of the word Sephanith Panek that them scholars were trying to find. It means also one who is a revealer of the light, one who is a revealer of what is hidden, and it also means Safek means seven, and Pekaru means circle. So when we say seven, seven represents the seventh adept degree. When you become one with God, you become the expression of the conduit of God, right? See that right there? This is the swift angel jewel. You see? Symbolize the consciousness. The principle is what represents the divinity. You see? And whether you know it or not, in this particular blade is the word Hierophant. And up here, this is Meroitic inscription, and it says, you rather be one than see one. A swift angel. You see? This actually comes from something that's more ancient. It's an order that was created by, some of the ancestors, and it deals with the order of the pyramids. So that's where this portion of the symbol was originated from, with this triangle in the middle with the ankh there. You see? And there's a 7 between each one of these knots, because it represents the 7 heavens. It represents, also the 7 within you, and it also represents 7, which is perfect. That's the top 7. And it says Commission Adept Hierophant. That's not just me. That's all of us who have attained this special degree. And I give honors to my chairman because he was the one that conferred that title upon me. I didn't claim it and create it myself, people. And I didn't even intend to be called by that. Just so happened to be, that's what I started being called by, instead of what my attribute is. That's how I became Commission Adept Hierophant. The people made me that. Just to share a little bit with our family. You see? And in this particular post, I said this right here. And this was a quote from some of the ancestors. I have set you on the way of God, but the good fortune of a scribe rests on his own 2 shoulders from the day that he is born. Should he reach the halls of judgment, it is the council that will act as mentor to him. No scribe lacks sustenance from the goods within the palace. And that nursery of the gods is the sunshine on the scribe who gives himself to the teachings of wise men, the Sabate teachings of ancient Kemet. You know what I mean? So like I said, we don't even play. We demonstrating this thing. Everything this brother proclaimed to be, that's what we is. You see? And we don't demonstrate that right there, in a high-minded state, where we trying to put somebody down. We demonstrate it from the standpoint of teaching our people love. You know what I mean? Watch this. Show you something. I want to give honors to the tribe of endurance, because all them scribes. My chairman wrote the book of fire. See this right here? You see what this says? We honoring the scribes that we raising up right now. See what it says? It takes an adept to teach an adept to be an adept. Right? This certificate of recognition confers in all sincerity the above degree of good faith upon the said Egyptian adept student or neophyte who has earned through due diligence the name of faithful beyond any doubt or contradiction. Whereas it is self that must confirm through self-initiation the greatest Egyptian adept Sabayit, wisdom instructions of the Hierophant within, which guides the aspirant to conform to the higher dictates of life and thus self-mastery. Shedu Netta, we as peers through review, being a collective body of this exalted council of executive rulers of Mecca, and really that's basically Morris Executive Consular Chamber Adept. It states, therefore, honor this esteemed Egyptian adept student with the red crown, red fez degree of ancient Kemet, an executive ruler and lord of the plane of soul and of the plane of all things made manifest, being duty bound to the highest aspirations of governing the self according to the wisdom stored beneath our royal red fez, which is symbolic to the same red crown of Lord Egypt. It states aforementioned above, yet we must all not fail to remember it is not what is on our heads, but what is within our heads that make our headdress sacred and honorable. Hear now, ye seraphim, ye cherubim, ye angels, and ye men. It is good to confer greatness in degrees upon those who conform or confirm through their ways, action, deeds, that they are willing to conform to the deific will of the great nectar of harmony, truth, balance, right order, and justice. For these are the quadratic keys of life cycles to understanding the one true adept chamber, where we are instructed in the chemistry, the ministry, and the mystery of human life, in the temple of perfect man, or perfected man. For our true purpose is self-initiation through the Egyptian adept Sabayit, wisdom teachings of ancient Kemet, transliterated in the Shinus effect, Karaani, as Sibogatala, emerging into divine wisdom as masters of Allah's nature. May we all be admitted into the nearest and most dearest sacred gardens of Sekhet Aru, the fields of peace, Sekhet Allah of Ra, and Alsar Heru Ami Abu. Only the pure in heart will be granted to enter the halls of Amenti, third heaven, Anquajet Sanel. And you see Prophet Noble Drew Ali's signature on the certificate. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we dead serious about this here, family. We ain't playing over here. We laying a foundation for the one that come behind us. So that being said, family, I see nobody got on there, but it's love to you all. Honors to all of y'all. We're going to keep bringing you the truth. You know, y'all know what it is. Y'all better start looking at these cats, man, and watching them. They be talking eloquent. I told you they be speaking eloquent ignorance. It sound good. Y'all might not like my dialect because it's a country dialect. as y'all call it. I can't stand to hear him talking that. I can't help what my dialect sound like, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't say the same thing about the way I hear people speak up north. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go off of the way because that's the way they talk. Everybody speak a different way. You can tell somebody that come from New York in the way that they speak. You can tell somebody that come from California in the way that they speak. You can tell somebody that come from New Orleans or Atlanta or Memphis. We all have different ways of speaking, you know, so that's ignorance anyway when you go to talking like that. I can't stand his country dialect. Oh, well, I'm bringing you the truth. Don't shoot the messenger. So that being said, family, I just want to say peace and love to all of y'all. You know, it's most definitely a grand drawing. We're going to keep bringing y'all this truth, man. Y'all see this what I do. This all be on my mind. That's why I can get up here and do this right here like I do it. And that's why I don't mind doing it. Because that's what it is. You know, our people got to get this truth. You know, if they don't, the worst is yet to come, family. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close out, you know, with a good track. And I'm going to let y'all get some rest, and I'm going to get some rest too, family. Honors to you for your audience and your listening ear. You know, and may y'all all be granted protection of the ancestors. Anqua Jetsanev, Shemotepu, life, health, and prosperity be upon you all, and the peace of the ancestors I most definitely honor you with and offer to you. So let me get this little track in here, get us one off, and because sometimes we can reach our people with the music. Okay. Give me a second here. We're going to rock out. Y'all be sure to share, you know, and like and subscribe, and also let the people know that we here. You know, because the more that we let them know we here, the more we have a platform to give our people the truth. You know, that's what our true intent is. So let me get this track up for you.
When black people like me talk to the slaves, they didn't kill him. They sent some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master.
Yeah, it's that sacrilegious blasphemy. Revolutionary speech to make them blasphemy. And I put it all on the line to see my people free. Even if it leads to Roman legions crucifying me. Yeah, it's that sacrilegious blasphemy. Revolutionary speech to make them blasphemy. And I put it all on the line to see my people free. Even if it leads to Roman Roman legions crucifying me. Blood diamonds in our veins, so we breathe. Every nigga's a potential donor for a small fee. Over the years, I gave my blood, my sweat and tears. Upright, independent, and fearless, and it's all clear. They wanna see me on my knees with my hands out, but I refuse to be a bigger ninny chasing clout. Your favorite rapper, honor master, he's a faithful slave. Phallus worshiping pagan rights for minimum wage. And I say the things that these house niggas wanna say. Can't cancel me cause I'm the culture, watch me lead the way. My footprints are clearly cut cause I'm a big stepper. I leave eternal landmarks, therefore I live forever. My Moorish ties can never be severed. Medieval demons plot to earn acceptance, and I don't have to get ready because I stay ready. Recite these vanishing rituals, these are my confessions, and I got a 7-day theory like Machiavelli. That sacrilegious blasphemy, revolutionary speech to make them blasphemy, and I put it all on the line to see my people free, even if it leads to Roman legions crucifying me. Yeah, this that sacrilegious blasphemy, revolutionary speech to make them blasphemy, and I put it all on the line to see my people free, even if it leads to Roman legions crucifying me. Freedom of speech, just watch what you say. Them devils look for excuses to exercise their hate. Them soundbite manipulation justify the case. A pig's only agenda is to control our fate. So many snakes and I miss silent hissing like Judas, filled in malice and greed, but still I see through them, and I can see it in their eyes. They pray for my demise. A crown of thorns upon my head, but yet I hold it high, and I walk with purpose and pride in every step I stride, cause I made a vow to the ancestors to ride or die. So I bear the burden of many spirits and lost souls. Yeah, I'm captive within the struggle as I unfold. They hold the stripes on my back, look at my broken flesh. I'm speaking truth to power into my last breath. I hear true legends never die, and now I'm legendary, and I live forever through these lyrics even when I'm buried. Yeah, this that sacrilegious blasphemy, revolutionary speech to make them blasphemy, and I put it all on the line to see my people free, even if it leads to Roman legions crucifying me. Yeah, this that sacrilegious blasphemy, revolutionary speech to make them blasphemy, and I put it all on the line to see my people free, even if it leads to Roman legions crucifying me. Yeah, this that sacrilegious blasphemy, revolutionary speech to make them blasphemy, and I put it all on the line to see my people free, even if it leads to Roman legions crucifying me. Yeah, this that sacrilegious blasphemy, revolutionary speech to make them blasphemy, and I put it all on the line to see my people free, even if it leads to Roman legions crucifying me.
Yeah, peace, family. Peace and love to everybody here. Y'all already know what time it is, man. It's undying. And y'all stay up and keep informing the people. And we going to keep bringing the truth. One love.